Ooh. Well, here we are. Finally. Late, but we're here. Oh my God. Can't get comfortable for love nor money. Right, what was I doing? Oh, yes. Why does nothing work? Oh, dear me. Hello, Kosh. Right, let's see if we can make this work. Should be interesting. Let's create an empty project. So there's no way of confusing the issue. Right, let's give it all its inputs. Oh, right. Yeah, mind you, people have been complaining about not getting the notifications lately, so I don't know what that's all about. But then it's not like a massive, what would you call it? Not a massive show, is it? So I suppose it's easily missed. That's 3. And that is 4. Oh dear.
What?
5, 6,
7,
7.
8. Are we just randomly counting to 10? Or?
No, just setting up outputs.
Oh, right.
It's weird. It fires up in the audio bus outputs. It goes stereo, left, right, yeah. And then what you do is you add the other buses if you so wish. So there's 8 outs, so I add the 8 outs, right? But what happens is when I add the 3 more buses, stereo buses, the first bus disconnects and makes output 2 output 1 and 2 instead of 3 and 4 every single time, and it never used to do that.
What is it? What's doing this?
Cubase.
Okay. Have you updated to the latest version of Cubase? Came out yesterday.
What, update for 13 or 14?
14.
Update? No, I'm not on 14.
Oh, that might be one then.
I stayed away from 14 because it's an even number. No, honestly, the odd number Cubases all worked perfectly. And always had trouble with the even number ones. But apart from that, I haven't got any money to buy it anyway. So,
Oh, yeah.
morning,
Evening.
afternoon,
Good night.
see ya.
Oh, yeah.
Did you get a notification, Matt?
No, because you set it up. I didn't get a notification, but you set
No,
it
I
up for
didn't.
10 to 10. Not 10 to 9.
Did I?
Yeah.
Well, don't forget, yesterday you set one up for 11:30 at night. When you meant yesterday morning.
It started, Matt. It started.
It was on 9. I meant to say it's 9:50.
No, you said for... Yeah, you set it for
9:50, 10 to 10.
Oh, arse wipe.
You were thinking of the American clocks, weren't you?
Yeah.
Pay attention, 007.
Oops. Oh well.
Oops.
Can't change that either now, can I?
We're live now, so...
Well, yeah. Oh well. People are turning up nonetheless.
Oh, have we got chatties, have we?
Yeah.
Oh, we do.
As well, yeah.
Ah, Keith Keith in Watford, did you win that QX1?
Oh yeah.
I was going to go for it.
You mean you don't have one?
No, I do.
Why would you want another?
Why not? No, 2 reasons. Number one, it's got the switchable voltage power supply. Mine's a US, so I thought I could swap the power supplies. Also, and this is the really silly thing, the one that was on eBay.
Keith didn't win it because he said you said you were watching it.
Rubbish. I never said that. I never told anybody I was watching it.
Oh. Oh, you both missed it. Oh.
It went for 102, and I thought, well, because I saw it go to about 98, so I thought, nah. But the other thing I wanted from it, apart from the power supply and obviously a potential source of spares should I need one, was the 5 1/4 inch drive protector insert that mine didn't come with. It's the cardboard. They used to get the cardboard inserts, and it's an original one that had a little orange ribbon on it and everything. And
I remember you saying this.
Yeah, when Manny and I did Synthfest, Simon Alexander said to me, "Do you want a backup, just in case? A backup TX816 and a backup QX1." And I said, "Yeah, go on then." So I had 2. Obviously, didn't have them on stage. The others were in storage, but his QX1 had the drive protector insert, the original drive protector insert, and I was like, "Do you want to sell that to me?" He goes, "No." Okay, fair enough. So I scanned it, and I had every intention of mocking one up. Mm-hmm. Sorry, it's just the missus.
Oh, love is so wonderful, isn't it?
I know. And I even bought some card and some really sharp, art knives and stuff. I could not get it right. The card was either a little too thick or a little too thin. And I thought, one day I'll find one somewhere. And I saw the pictures of this, and I thought, yeah, if that goes for because I think the guy said he couldn't test it because it got a European plug on it. So he couldn't test it. I mean, why he couldn't test it, I don't know, but just get a couple of pieces of wire, stick them in the socket, attach them to the plug. There you go. So it's no big deal. But I never said I was watching it. I was watching it, but I never sort of intimated that I wasn't. I was interested in buying it. I should have done, really, to be honest. It only went for 102, and I could have souped it up with a GoTech drive and what have you. But all right, fast.
No, I don't want player.
I don't know how you two are still alive. I really don't.
25 years next year, isn't it, love?
Was that a sigh?
That was a
sigh of resignation.
You get less for murder.
Yeah. Well, the Craze didn't do much more, did they?
No. Oh, it's a sign of a healthy marriage. It's all right. It's her birthday in a few days. You've got to be nice, Timmy.
Yeah.
No, isn't that meant to be the other way around?
Oh, yeah, on that day.
Nice now.
She got to be nice to me now if she wants the presents.
Fucking hell.
And the rather rude card or something that will be insulting of some description. Ah, dear. Oh.
I can't sit next door tonight. Fucking hell, doing God knows. Was it 10.5 hours in that seat yesterday? I couldn't. It took me 20 minutes to get out of the chair.
Oh, I finally finished that video.
Did you?
Have they signed it off now?
Yeah.
Fucking
Signed
time.
off about 6 p.m. tonight because I wasn't going to. They needed it by tomorrow, but tomorrow US time. So I could have done it in the morning, but I thought no, I'm not gonna. I've got the dentist in the morning. I'll just. What the fuck? What?
Got the dentist in the morning.
Yeah, I got the dentist in the morning.
Can I put the washing machine on?
Well, not if the water pressure's fucked.
Oh, okay then.
I wouldn't if I were you because it'll. Yeah, don't.
What time's your dentist?
About 11.
So they couldn't put it straight then.
Right.
Put what? Sorry, what?
Your boiler.
Oh no, the boiler's fine.
Oh, okay.
We just had a text message from Anglian Water saying you might be experiencing low pressure or no pressure on your water for the next couple of hours because they got a fault. So I thought I've got to get it done tonight. So I did this. I did the third. I sent the third version in where I completely replaced the voiceover with me just speaking normally, and I edited all the video bits that they wanted editing, the orders and the synchronizations bits, whatever. And I thought, that's it, nailed it. That's it. And then I sent it off, and this morning or this afternoon, I get an email from this boss saying, I've got notes. Oh, fuck's sake. Basically, I've had to go back to the first one, which is the one they said, no.
Really?
Yeah, and I've literally I've gone back to the first edit, tweaked it a little bit, and I finished it. And I sent it in. I was just waiting for them to come back and go, one more thing. And she didn't. She came back. She said, "That's brilliant. That's perfect. 100%. Send it over. Done. Thank you." Sorted. And I'll get no thanks for it.
I've just realised Kent is talking, so he must have fixed his audio.
No, that bit worked.
The mic didn't,
Yeah.
Yeah.
did it? Oh, I can't remember. It's been a long day.
Anything coming out of Cubase?
Of course. Yes. My mistake. I apologise.
You know, since I watched that video about how monkeys open bananas, do the same thing now.
How do they open bananas?
What everybody would consider the
The
bottom.
arse end.
And it is better.
Is it?
Really easy to open.
Culture Ghost has just watched the remake of Nosferatu.
Not impressed then.
The first one was fucking amazing. Loved that film.
The first one.
It was like 1923 or something.
Yeah.
I was going to say, did you mean that one? Yeah.
Max Schreck, I think it was.
Yeah, I always go that. Neck fuck off. Yeah. So I got no idea why this isn't working. At all.
Me either.
It was running. Everything was fine. Well, it was when you were here earlier that day. Could hear everything. Hear the 80. And then...
You've done something. Something's changed.
No, nothing. I haven't
We
changed
must have
anything.
done. You
No,
must have.
honest to God.
It won't just like mysteriously just stop. Something.
What, like the montage did?
Something. No, well, you haven't got the drivers on there, so you must have taken the drivers off, or something you did took the drivers off.
I'll tell
These
you
things
one
just
thing.
don't happen.
What, even Apple's proprietary ones?
Yeah, but no, the montage needs its own driver. That's why they do it.
Okay.
It's not class compliant.
What about the plugin then?
Again, uninstalled. Maybe you ran that C cleaner and uninstalled it.
No, I was uninstalling specific things. And the montage plugin wouldn't have fucking been one of them.
But software doesn't uninstall itself.
I'm not
Wagyu.
saying that.
Wagyu.
Yeah, haunted. Oh, I don't know.
Well, it's like that.
Isn't it not just haunted, always haunted?
It's like that failing VCO on the JP8.
How is it like a failing VCO?
Well, take that issue. You think then there's something wrong with the VCO?
Oh, you mean with the cable?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's like it's never had a voice 8. VCO 2 on voice 8 ever since it was built. Fucking hell.
I reckon Hans just comes to life and fucking does all this shit just to annoy you.
But what's even more weird? Look back shows audio coming out of out Cubase 13 and going to channels outputs 1 and 2.
So if you add another piece of...
You haven't got the fuck it, what's it called? In the
mute while capturing.
No. Your mic mode on your Mac isn't set to voice isolation, is it? Because that's what fucks it up in my one. You turn voice isolation on, and I can sit there and play my keyboards. You can't hear them. Turn it off to put it back to standard
I
mode.
don't think I ever touched that setting.
That's what happened to me.
Well, hey, I'll look at it all,
So
mate.
if you look at the top of
No,
your...
not turned on.
What, your voice isolation?
Yeah, I've only got stereo audio turned on, and it's all I ever have turned on.
No.
No.
You click the green icon at the top of the screen, the camera,
Yeah.
camera,
At
what, up here?
top. Yeah. Click on that.
Yeah.
and look down at the
What does it
bottom. It'll
say?
tell mic mode.
Mic mode is standard.
Okay.
Oh, right,
And
it's not that then.
what's the application showing above it? Is it audio routing kit?
No.
What is it?
Cubase 13.
Okay.
Because you want ARK on that, don't you?
Yeah. If you're using loopback, you want to...
So maybe running CCleaner has reset that.
Well, I've turned it to ARK.
Right, now try playing.
It's not that, is it?
No, but it was something else that obviously needed to be changed.
But it's like... Do you hear that?
Yeah, very faintly.
Yes.
Very faintly. Now, if I remember rightly,
Pedals?
that's rattling the VU meters.
Okay. On what?
The Focusrite.
Yeah, your Focusrite's fucked, isn't it? It's gone all Longhurst on him.
Yeah,
So
he's still suffering, isn't he?
So you've got an X32 mixer.
Yep.
Why are you not using that as an audio interface?
Because I've got an audio interface.
Yeah, but why are you using two audio interfaces?
I like my Focusrite.
Okay.
Doesn't the CS go straight into that, though?
Goes
Yeah,
into the Focusrite, yeah.
Yeah, the 80 goes straight into it.
Another thing is the cables have never reached the back of the mixer.
Well, if only you knew somebody who could make longer cables.
Oh no, I bought special cables that were really long. And when you plug them into the mixer, when I put reverb on it in Cubase, it comes out on the microphone as well. And everything else that you plug in. So it has to be on a separate inputs on the Focusrite. So it's not on the same channel. But anything that's plugged into the X32 directly in a normal audio kind of way, fine. But I can't think of anything that I had changed
Steve Elbows just said, last year, this sort of thing is why Robbie and Matt were going to visit Kent's studio and sort the side of it out. But it never panned out like that because we never got upstairs.
But like I say, I've had it working beautifully.
And then you pull it all apart again.
No. I had it where it developed a fault and I fixed it. And it was, I think it was Cubase being a twat. Not Cubase, Loopback being a twat for some reason. Reinstalled the Loopback and everything was good again. So...
I feel a road trip coming on.
No, I have a straw to clutch. And that straw is the control software for the Focusrite and see if anything has been going on in there.
I just don't understand why you got two audio interfaces.
Well, because I had an audio interface and then my normal mixer died.
Yeah.
So I bought another mixer. And the fact that it has an audio interface into it is by the by. It was a good mixer and it was going for a good price. That's why I have two audio interfaces.
But why keep the Focusrite if you've got a mixer that you can plug everything into? All your hardware can go into it. And you can route the audio from that to any channel in your Cubase setup so you can apply things. I just...
Why do you have more than one keyboard?
No, but you don't need more than one audio interface.
You don't need more than one keyboard.
That's,
And
that's false equivalence.
where's Ty? I want Ty to come in on this one.
Why do you need more than one wife?
If you're listening.
Why do you need more than one wife? There you go.
Well, having had two previous ones, I can explain that beautifully.
Yeah, that come across really easy, that one. I don't know. I honestly don't know what the hell happened. I haven't changed anything in a hardware capacity.
Let's have some Gallic common sense here. Look, come on.
Yeah.
From
Fuck off, I'm half Irish.
Bonsoir.
Bonsoir.
I still say the best one was Luanker.
Little wanker.
How you doing, folks?
Not bad
good,
yourself.
Good. It's been a while.
You're looking well. Have you been ill?
Yeah.
Said you're looking well.
I do
Have
like
you
that
been ill?
one. I do like that one.
I've been cutting wood. That's what I've been doing.
Oh, look at him, lumberjack. I bet you had a check shirt on and everything.
Yeah, wish. Yeah. No, with 19 trees down around the house.
Yeah, of
after
course
the
you
storm.
did. You had all that shit, didn't you?
Shit, yeah.
Yeah. So it's been every day.
That's going to be an elaborate coffee table.
Yeah. and chairs and.
Yeah, the next track he releases is called Ollie's Got Wood. Yeah.
Certainly do. Fucking hell.
Oh dear.
Just
You've had snow as well, haven't you?
banjo.
There was just frost. Yeah, it was just winter
right.
stuff. But the storm was bad. All right. The storm, the hurricane. Yeah. And I think the last time I was just after, and we'd gone to Lanzarote. Last time I joined.
You've actually got keyboards up in that room now, Ollie. Didn't have
Oh
those
yeah,
up
but
before.
for a while I've it's the M1 and the X7. It's Robbie approves. I've never used the M1 for anything actually. It's the one keyboard I've always wanted to have.
Yeah.
Because the keyboard player in the band I was in school had an M1. We thought it was the coolest thing ever.
Yeah.
And I've never used it for anything.
They do get a little bit of lease of life on them if you get the is it the PCM card for the back.
Yeah, I suppose. Yeah. I've used M1 stuff before, but it was always like plug-in versions.
Yeah.
And just a bit more flexible than the. At least for me, I'm not a very good keyboard player anyway. Oh, speaking of chord, that nano key fold thing.
Oh yeah.
Remember I was showing it.
Yeah.
I used it. Brought it to Lanzarote to work on. Piece of shite. It's my final review.
Piece of shite.
Piece of shite.
There's a quality review.
You see, that's my kind of review.
Yeah,
To the
there
point.
You go.
Piece of shite.
I really wanted it to be good, but yeah, no, it's a piece of crap.
Why specifically is it a piece of crap?
Well, first the build itself. It's just the plastic is so weak and flimsy. It just feels it's going to crumble every time you open it and close it. And the size is good. It's that size. I can't even remember where I've put it since I came back, and I don't even want to look for it. Yeah, it's the build is poor. That's really it. And the keys don't feel right. And it's actually easier. To be honest, it's easier to put tape on your keyboard, the laptop keyboard, and just use that instead of a.
No.
Yeah, it's a shame. I think it's a missed opportunity. Because there's features on it like arpeggiators and that kind of stuff, but nobody uses those on those type of computers.
Yeah.
Or the controllers, sorry. And so they should have saved the money and put that into the build quality instead, I think.
Oh well. I was never in the market for one anyway.
Yeah, because I think all the features that are on it's all stuff that you'd find in whatever portable sense you're trying to control with it anyway.
Right.
So it's not needed on that, and instead, like make the case metal, or at least that, and maybe a touch kind of keys instead of those button with a soft membrane. It's just yeah.
Yeah. There's always a compromise, isn't there? And it's not always the right one.
Anyway, so yeah, piece of shite. Don't buy it.
There you go. Oh, can't believe it's almost a week end already.
Yeah, it's moved on a bit, hasn't it?
Oh, going out again on Saturday night as well. Jesus.
Yeah, we're good.
We're going to see Mike and the Mechanics.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it was not a gig I would choose to go to. I didn't even know they were playing. I'm not a fan per se, but
okay.
Pete Catley phoned me up and he said, "I've got these 2 tickets to Mike and the Mechanics, and for whatever reason he can't go, or he's going to another gig,
Right.
or whatever." Anyway, he said, "Do you want them face value?" I was like, "Well, yeah, it's Jackie's birthday weekend. Why
Okay.
not go to a show?" So, and then apparently, because I only really found out yesterday. Obviously, Mike Rutherford is there playing, but also Nick Collins, Phil's son, is the drummer for the band now.
Nice.
So that'd be quite interesting. I've watched him play on online and stuff, so it'd be quite interesting to hear him play. It's kind of like a greatest hits tour, so I'll probably know most of the songs, and apparently they throw some Genesis stuff in there as well. So that'll be nice. I can say I've seen 1/3 of Genesis live. Well, actually, no. Well, it all depends which version of Genesis you're referring to. I've never seen Tony Banks live or Hackett, which I need to see Steve Hackett.
Well, if Phil Collins' son is playing, it's 1.5, really, isn't it?
Well, yeah.
One of
But he
the
did actually play with Genesis on the last Domino tour, so he is effectively kind of a. But I wish I'd seen Genesis in their pomp. So, don't think we'll ever get a reunion now. So, certainly not if Phil can't play drums.
Did you do any more keyboards after the JP8, Kent?
Nah. No, I left
It's
it
enough
at
to
that.
put anyone off, isn't it, Jupiter?
Well, that was you. Bollocks. Just bollocks.
Yeah, bollocks you.
That's
Do you
blatant
usually
talk,
work on
that
the
is.
ground?
Mm.
Wow, are your knees not fucked?
Nope.
Wow.
No. They've never known it any other way.
He was born without kneecaps.
Yeah.
Jesus, 10 minutes of that, I'll be calling 999, I think.
I genuinely can't sit in the same position really at all. I don't know whether it's not necessarily pain. It's just
Right.
I'm always moving. So it's like when I go somewhere, like, you know, to see a show or something, and you sat in a, you know, sort of a fairly compact seat,
Yeah.
I'm fucked by the end of it because I just can't. Yeah, I need to sort of like jiggle, move, squirm.
Fart.
Yeah, that too. So that's why I fucking hate long distance flying, because unless of course you've got the road to
Everybody else
yourself.
in the plane.
Yeah.
Make your arms hurt.
Oh dear. One of these days I'll get to fly business all first. Properly. Not just stuck in there temporarily like I was that time from South Africa.
I did fly first class to America once.
Wow.
It was back when Ireland was going mad, spending money. When they called it the Celtic Tiger, early 2000s, and they flew me over to Los Angeles to work there for about 6 months with the team. And they flew me first class. I was just, and I was 24 or 5, and brought like a guitar and my bouzouki with me, long hair, and I didn't look like anybody who flew first class, but and they had a wine list,
Oh yeah,
like
that's
stuff
great,
like that.
isn't it?
And then you choose your wine at the beginning, and it just keep refilling it, and you arrive, you're absolutely plastered.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Brilliant. Yeah. My ex in-laws used to have this thing. They were both like East End working class, bombed out in the war and all this kind of stuff. And he'd made his fortune through hard work. He got his, but he was kind of like, he had this kind of way to him, and they were very old fashioned. And whenever we flew anywhere, they always dressed up in their best, like Sunday best, suit, tie, the lot. She was in, a proper, skirt suit type thing, because they always believed that if you dressed the part, when you got onto the plane, you might be asked to turn left instead of right. Never happened. Never. I remember getting on the flight with them to Florida, and they were all in that finery, and I was just like in a t-shirt and sweatpants, and we all got moved. Nobody got bumped. I've been bumped twice. Once was when they found out that me and Jackie were going on our honeymoon to Rome, so we got bumped up to Club Europe. Club Europe on an A320 is where the middle seat is just blanked off, and it's no different. It's the first. There's no special. Oh, you get a little. We got a little half bottle of champagne and stuff, and that was that. And the other time I got bumped was going down to South Africa, and I get to the check, not the check-in desk. When you're at the gate, and I handed her my passport and boarding pass, and she said, "Oh, you've been upgraded." And in the back of my head, I'm going, yes. And you've been upgraded to premium economy, not just regular economy, just premium economy.
it's different color.
Which is, you get about an inch more leg room and half an inch width on the seat.
And a clean toilet.
And a clean toilet, yeah. Oh, yeah. And then I think it might have been on that same trip on the way home, because I was on a 747, which didn't have the proper power socket for my CPAP machine. Instead of just bumping me and sticking me in business class all the way, they wouldn't put me in business class until after dinner had been served. And they'd put the lights down. Then they moved me in there so I could lie on the bed and plug my machine in. And then they woke me up before they served breakfast as we were coming into England, and put me back in my premium economy seat. Fucking hell,
Yes, yes. Drop the lights. We don't want people seeing who's in here.
I know, it's ridiculous. So, one day.
Yeah, I've never been bumped. Like that first class experience was just the once, and then after that, it's always been economy.
Yeah. And you look at those pictures, like, from the 50s and the 60s on a 747, and everyone's sitting in, like, like proverbial armchairs, aren't they? It doesn't matter what you're
Oh, yeah,
eating.
they're 6 feet apart.
Yeah, yeah. Nowadays, it's just about squeezing them in.
And hoping you don't get sat by the blank panel that gets sucked out mid-flight.
I gotta laugh every
I'd
time I
love to get
see
sucked out mid-flight.
a first class in Ryanair, which is like 3 seats at the front. Like it's exactly the same seats. It's just
I think
Sit
I'm
on
in
the
row.
pilot's lap.
I always try and get down the front, not because I want to get off it, because it is you only pay a little bit extra for those seats. I think I'm in row 3 when I go to Berlin, but there's nothing. It's just all the fucking same. It's all the same. Yeah. I remember, and it all depends on the airline as well, because you can fly in the same plane with 2 different airlines. And they put the seats in, they put their own configurations in. British Airways, with an A380, they've gone for maximum capacity. But you go on like an A380 with Emirates, and even in economy, you've got more space and you get a better service. You get the same, you get really nice food, proper cutlery and everything. So yeah, it's the airline itself can make a huge difference, let alone the plane. I miss those days.
I refuse now to buy tickets with Ryanair if I'm the one traveling. Like if Fiona is booking it and we're going to whatever Lanzarote or something, fair enough. She's booking it, she's paying for it.
Yeah.
But no, if I'm the one paying for it, I'll pay a bit more, but I'll fly. If we're going to France, I'll pay for Air France, for example. Like it's just because I'm just sick of Ryanair. And it is more expensive, of course, but at this stage in my life, I'm like, fuck it, I'll spend the money and be comfortable.
Well, I always used when I used to
That's what
fly
money's for.
with work. When I first started at this company, you basically booked your own ticket. Well, you went through we had a travel counsellor or whatever they called them. So you just contacted them. They knew all your preferences, and they had all your details and everything. And I always insisted on going British Airways, because I thought, well, I want to stick with one airline so I can build up the points and use the points and what have you. So I always insisted on going British Airways. And most of the time that was okay, but over the years, British Airways just got worse and worse and worse. And apparently now they're one of the worst flagship airlines in the world.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they're terrible. They've cut back on all the stuff. I mean, I remember the last few times I flew with them, they weren't giving out as much food and alcohol during the flight, and this was a long haul flight, than they used to. Everything was just being stripped back and stripped back and stripped back. So yeah, I refuse to be loyal to any particular. I want the best.
Yeah.
For that trip, like Berlin, Ryanair, France, Ryanair, because it's a fairly good way to save a bit of money. But
Fair enough.
anything long haul, I'd rather go, a proper decent carrier. I always thought Lufthansa were quite good. Don't know what they're like now. KLM are also quite good as well.
I remember taking an inside flight in India when I was there for a while, and I used to go there for work quite a lot. Like I spent about 6 months there, but I remember taking a flight with, I think it was it Kingfisher or one of those airlines, but it was just a 2 hour or an hour and a half flight, and like the quality of the service was actually pretty good. I was like, shit, if India can get it right, like what the fuck is Ireland doing? Come on.
Yeah.
Just
I flew Kenya Airways a few times, internally in Africa, and they were really good. It was really, really nice. Yeah. It was Iceland Air. I flew Iceland Air. They were awful. Very sparse, and they flew 757s. I don't think anybody flies 757s anymore. Yeah. Well, what's he doing there?
Robbie, you'd know, wouldn't you?
No.
Yamaha DS55, four up machine, isn't it?
I believe so, yes.
Because I had one and I can't remember it. It was that memorable.
I have a spreadsheet. Let me check my spreadsheet. Yamaha FM comparisons. Yeah. I sat down and I listed every Yamaha FM synth, every chip that it contains, every feature.
You're not a
Because I'm not a twat, am I? DS55. I might not even have that one listed. Yeah, pretty cat. Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
I swallowed my Beringer Pride a while back, and I started getting some of these.
Crave.
That's
the Crave?
no,
Or
it's the Spice,
Spice.
and I got the Edge as well. Yeah, they're good.
Yeah.
They work.
Yeah, right.
So the DS55.
Because I've got Dom's Model D and I bought a Neutron to sit next to it. And they're both fine machines.
So the DS55 is based off the YS100, which used the 2414 FM chip, and it was 4-op. So you could basically load any of the DX11, 21, 27, 100, TX81Z patches on there, and they would mostly work as intended. I think the DS55 had a split mode or something,
God, now you're asking. Long time
and
ago.
it had digital effects as well.
You know where I found mine? Boot sale, 20 quid.
Yeah. Auto performance functions. Yeah, it was
I
nice.
just
It was,
swear by my synths as well. Second-hand boot sale stuff.
yeah.
Yeah, why not?
Got this.
Oh, nice. Poly 800.
For 80 quid.
That's all right.
Going to save up for another filter. Because I was really excited about it when they came out, and I went to ABC Music in Eddleston, and I go, yeah, blah, oh, oh, blah, oh, okay, hence the price. Okay.
I haven't tried it yet, I have to say. There's a few mods you can do, isn't there?
There
a few kits you can get, like.
Yeah. One useful one would be to have another 5 filters.
Oh.
or another 7 even would be quite nice.
Sherman filter bank would do it, wouldn't it?
Hey, it's good enough for a string synth, isn't it? So
That's exactly.
they've
That's all I
only got,
want
they've only
for.
got one triggerable filter as well. So
So Moog have discontinued the subsequent 25.
yeah.
I wonder if they'll replace it with anything. Superbooth's coming up.
When is it?
March 7th. May 7th. Or is it 8th? Well, yeah, that weekend. You never know. I'm pretty sure they're going to be there. So.
Wonder what it could replace it with the instead of 25, or the one after the 25,
Yeah. Or the one before.
or the subsequent one after that.
Or the previous. They've got
Previous,
the
25, yeah.
Moog previous 25.
Vintage edition.
The Moog instead. Yeah. The Moog instead.
The upcoming.
The anticipated.
Yeah. The disappointing 25.
Yeah.
The fuck me, how much? 25? Oh no, it's teenage engineering, isn't it?
So it will be interesting to see whatever the next Moog synth is, keyboard synth that is,
Yeah.
what the pricing is on that, because the Muse was competitively priced for what it is and its competitors in the market. It was pretty competitively priced. So be interesting to see what their next, whether it's a mono synth or whether it's another, whether it's the Moog stepmother or something.
Steve was the flatulent 25.
Yeah. But I think it will give us an indication of where Moog are going in terms of, their future. If they're looking to get the prices down so they sell more, or whether they're looking to keep that sort of premium brand. Still, with all the fucking tariffs going on, I don't think it really makes a fucking difference.
What do you call this? Grandma?
And he's come and go.
Yeah.
Literally.
What would you call it? Why would you call it the grandmother?
Don't know.
They could do a sequence for it, call it the stepsister.
Well, you could have the whole step family, couldn't you? The stepmother, the stepfather.
Or a 16 stepsister.
And you get all the video tutorials are on Pornhub.
Yeah.
Or maybe they'll just go for it and call it the Moog MILF.
Yeah. Or mum's uncle, wink.
The subpar.
It's subpar. Oh dear.
They won't do a father since it's sexist.
Racist.
Racist? I don't know where the fuck did that come from. Racist? What? Okay,
You're racist, father.
Yeah. Your fucking brain took a left turn at the lights then, didn't it, mate?
Mind you, if you're going to call a Moog a father, it's sort of like, I don't know. So,
I'm
No,
surprised Brian didn't call theirs the patriarch.
Yeah.
But if they ever release the Moog Bob, you know who's got to fucking advertise it, don't you? Rowan Atkinson.
Yeah.
Bob.
Bob.
Moog.
Yeah.
Bob.
Bob.
Yeah.
Yes.
Culture
Wow.
of Ghost. Anyone remember if Dom's JX3P sold? I believe it did. I think it
Very
went, didn't it?
quickly, if I remember rightly. It went very quickly.
Is there stuff left from his?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is there?
That's all it ties.
Yeah. Ty's got to go through
D-
it all. And
D50 sold, didn't it?
I think it did, yeah.
Bollocks. I'd love one of those.
I was looking at that, the JX3P, and something else. Can't remember what it was. And I dillied and I dallied, and then they kind of shut the sale down. And so I need to have a word. That might be one of the things. If I get to go to box in the
I know
whenever that is.
there was a ton of stuff
See 'em.
that's kind of, classed as hard to sell. Rack mount units and bits and pieces like that.
It's not hard to sell if your name's Wagyu.
Well,
You should be buying all that.
there's an
Oh,
awful
according
lot
to
of it.
Keith, the JX3P never sold.
I thought Ty said it had gone.
I don't think the list was 100% accurate towards the end. So who knows? I don't know.
Well, by the time his project started, he didn't have time to do anything with it anymore.
One of the most gutting things is I changed my computer not long after Dom passed, and I can't reauthorize the incinerator now.
Oh,
Yeah, I'm the same.
Yeah, gutted.
Actually, I don't think I've got it installed anymore.
It's still on there. I can't take it off. I just left it on there.
No, it was on my old machine, but I think by the time I got this one, I didn't put it back on.
I used it once to overdrive the chord buttons on a track.
Yeah.
It was lovely,
yeah.
yeah,
It's a great little plug-in.
yeah.
That reminds me, I've got that bloke Simon Appleby that passed away last year. He was the big Gary Newman fan. He used to be, post quite a bit on the Facebook page. I've known him for some years. Anyway, he passed away. He had cancer, and his wife contacted me back end of last year and said, I've got all this stuff, and he told me before he died, he said sell it, but sell it for what it's worth and stuff, and get some money for it. And he's got a Rev 4 Prophet 5. I think he's got some Moog stuff in there, a few bits and bobs. Anyway, she has no idea about what any of it is or what it's worth. So she asked me if I'd give her a hand, but wait until the new year. And of course, now we're in bloody March. I haven't even done anything about it, so I need to. So there might be some stuff coming up from there, but it's all the way up in Northumberland.
Okay.
So there might be a case of bringing it down here, because you probably get I don't know. But I'm going to have to go up and see it all and sort of ascertain its condition. But the Rev 4 apparently only got like in August last year, and then he was dead by sort of September, November, something like that.
Shit.
Yeah. But he got to play it, which was nice, but yeah.
Well, I know Ty was trying to get hold of me, and then saw that there was a workshop pub on.
Yeah, it was yesterday.
And joined. No, today.
Oh, today?
And joined, and it come up with the stream ended 1 minute ago. So when I went in, and Fionna's going, "Oh, Ty's been phoning you." I mean, has he? Yeah, loads of times. I mean, oh what? And it was too much for you to bring the phone down to me or anything like that?
Apparently so.
Yeah, she goes, well, it's cold. So I said, oh, okay. So I phoned him back anyway, and he was saying about, I'm in an iron about whether to get this SK30. I said, well, all right then, we'll throw a coin in the air kind of scenario. If you go up there, because it's a 5-hour drive there and back, right? I said, if you get it, and it turns out that the reason that the monosynth section isn't working is because of something really straightforward, then you're on a winner. If it's a custom IC, then you're going to have to find another SK30. But at least that way, the up of that is, you have a working SK30 and you have an awful lot of spares for an SK30.
Which is not a bad position to be.
So I said, let's see if there's another SK30 for sale. So I typed in SK30 and there was one on Reverb. It's in America. And it was 1,400 quid. And it looked like it'd been dragged through a hedge backwards. It was really sort of like not great. So I go, well, that's going to be the donor machine then, isn't it? So, but see how it goes anyway. And he said, yeah, but I'm still pissed off with you about you putting me off that SK50. I went, oh yes, let's have twice the amount of fucking shit in a box. So he goes, oh yeah, but I want SK50. So I said, well, let's see if there's an SK50. So when I had a look, fucking $4,500. For a string synth with tits on it. I mean, really? Fucking hell. Alright, it's dual manual and all the rest of it. And I know it's a nice string sound, but...
It is a very nice sound.
But, my God, 4.5K. Fucking hell, on fire. Hey, 20 years ago, they were skipping them. I don't know. But I suppose, they're going, it's Yamaha, it's vintage. Look how much CS80s are going for. This must be worth a fortune, kind of scenario.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, the Gen, like Culture says, the Gen SX 1000. And when that actually came out, it was sort of like, yeah, all right, mate, yeah. As a mono synth, it was, if you were poor, you got an SX 1000 sort of thing. They're actually quite good.
It's all gone to tits, though. I mean,
Oh,
prices and any
prices
bit
are
of
just ridiculous
retro
now.
vintage kit.
It's all gone very, very weird. Actually, it just reminded me. I'm going to go to Richard's site and see if he's put that Korg 3200 up yet.
I recently got myself these little lights off AliExpress. They're about 20 quid,
Yeah.
but they do RGB, and they last forever. They last for hours, but they can be like they're super strong. And there's I'm just holding they do all sort of kind of spectrum, so they go from
yeah.
like green to so they're great actually to have like as just extra lights in your
Yeah.
scene, like if you're filming something, like just to have like a 3-point light or something like that, but you want it to be a specific color, or you want a certain area to be lit with a specific color. Like it's super handy, and they're pretty cheap.
Oh yeah, the emulator one's still up.
It will be.
Yeah.
That's the minimal light, minimal setting you can have.
It's still bloody bright, isn't it?
Yeah.
Oh, Rob's digging for a bag of tricks. Look.
No, I got this one. I actually got this for Super Booth last year.
Similar thing, yeah, there you go.
Well, it's just a little square thing.
Yeah.
I've forgotten how to use it now. So yeah, you've got just like, you know, and you can. So it goes really quite. That's. There you go. That's 100%. So,
Yeah.
Basically, do interviews and you give people archive.
yeah.
Yeah.
But
You light a whole room with it, like.
yeah.
Yeah.
So you can then, but you've also got these modes on it as well, which is quite cool. So you can do all the colours and everything.
Yeah. And then
But-
there's lightning mode, fire
So-
truck, like all those
Yeah, so there's TV,
Yeah.
this TV screen, so you just have that and you look, yeah.
It's
Then
the
you've
same
got-
software, yeah.
What else have you got? No, that's that.
Cup car.
Candle,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I have that. as well.
Flame 2, police,
Police, yeah.
ambulance, fire truck, strobe, big strobe, faster strobe. Ugh.
And now the entire audience is having an epileptic fit.
Yeah. They have the chase colours.
Yeah, they're really. I've been using them on the videos recently. Yeah,
You got fireworks. as
really,
well.
really handy.
Yeah. That's romantic, apparently.
Oh, stop it!
Well, I'm hard.
I want to go and
I
sit
got
by the.
wood.
I want to sit by the roadside
Yeah.
on the street
Yeah.
and just go do that. See how many people stop.
Put a box on your head and just stand there and
Yeah.
hold it.
And it holds its charm. I mean, it's
That's the thing. Like when we lost power during the storm, and we were like 3-4 days without it, and I have 4 of these, and they lasted 4 days.
yeah.
Bloody hell.
Like we used them like one at a time at minimal setting, but that was enough light to just go by at night. So actually, like they lasted us to 4 days. We were out of power. Like they last forever. I can have it at max power for about 2.5 hours.
Bloody hell.
Yeah,
Not bad.
and max power is a lot of light.
Yeah.
Oh, you got all the. So that's 96k,
Yeah, yeah.
and then you can flick through. Okay, warmer, and warmer, and warmer. It goes down to 2500, I think.
Yeah, no, it's the same software they use for all of these.
Must be,
anyway.
yeah.
The Chinese.
I had a look for my handheld Hoover before I come up. I can't find it. I know it's small, but I should be able to find the bloody thing.
Maybe it's with my Korg controller that I can't find.
Yeah. Mind you, a couple of weeks ago, I lost the Graphic vocoder.
Yeah.
What?
Couldn't find it. Didn't know where it was. And you know how big that is.
Yes.
It's like that CS60 in the workshop. No idea. None whatsoever. No. Whose is it? What's it here for? Fuck knows. No idea.
Ross just blinded himself.
Can't see you guys. I've just got these spots in front of my eyes. Now I was looking at a gimbal, just a little handheld gimbal, and this thing will just screw into the base of it. So you got the gimbal in that there, and it would be ideal.
I got one. I've got a Tech one. For my iPhone's wonderful.
Yeah, that's what. I was going to get it for the iPhone, but was it D? It's quite a well-known sort of brand in. Oh, I can't remember what it is now.
DJI, because they do.
That could be. Yeah, that could be it.
Yeah, they do.
They do that. They do drones and
Drones,
everything. Yeah.
I've got a DJI drone here.
Yeah, I have one here as well now. They're great fun. If you can find them in your area, because it's, I don't know about England, but
Yeah, it's not too bad here.
yeah.
Couple of apps you can get to sort of see where you can fly them.
Ireland is like, unless you're in Dublin, that's it. Like, you can fly your drone anywhere. Really. Didn't give a fuck. Yeah.
Yeah, I think there was a lot of people who jumped on the whole drone bandwagon thing, thinking they could make a bit of a killing on it, and then of course some nasty things happened, and they sort of clamped down on all the rules.
My
Right,
mate,
the
go on.
No.
My mate rings me up. He said, "Look out your window." Well, he lives the other end of Brixham. Look out my
right.
window. Fucking drones sitting above my flat. Hi. Bless him.
So I had a friend when I used to work at BT. He was a lovely guy, but he was just a bit fucking clueless, and he was always jumping jobs, and if he wasn't, he'd go to a company and you know work there for a while and sort of build some money up, and then he'd quit and he'd set up his own business, and it was just whatever the passing fad was at the time, he'd jump into it, and he got into drones, and he would then bombard everyone on his email list and his social media and LinkedIn with, doing all this, and then like 6 months later, he's working somewhere else doing something else, and he's just how he survived. I don't know. I haven't heard from him for years now. But yeah, he was an odd one.
There's people like that in there. Like, we all have a friend that's like a butterfly. Just
Yeah.
tries everything.
Yeah.
Which I suppose is
Maybe
interesting.
he was doing
I
it
just-
alphabetically, so the next thing he went into was drugs.
drugs.
He's now doing a 25 stretch.
Yeah, it could be. I mean, if you're in a situation where you haven't got maybe a lot of financial commitments, maybe your kids have grown up and left home, or you haven't got kids or whatever, and you've got less to risk, then yeah, great, go for it. But when you've got people relying on you, it's a little bit difficult,
Yeah, that makes things a little bit more
or
complicated.
yeah, a little less easy, should I say?
That's why I always say about like this, the music hobby and all that. Like, if I was in my 20s with nothing to lose, yeah, I'd go full time, absolutely. But no, not in my 50s.
No.
Yeah.
Because especially in this kind of art industry, like whether it's music or anything else, but you do well for 6 months and then
Yeah.
you got 6 months of just
Yeah. It can just peter out.
Yeah.
yeah.
keep thinking that I need to. I can't deal with the corporate thing anymore. It just does my head in. But it's
The guy who works for an American company.
exactly. Yeah, this is it. This is why I can't stand it anymore.
Yeah.
I've done it for so long now. I hate the bullshit. I hate the politics. I hate the absolute all this corporate speak and metrics.
Yeah, but you're
and
also
all-
subject to the American work ethic.
well.
So
It's
Sunday afternoon, and you're having your Sunday lunch, and you get a text saying, "Can you sort this out, this out, this out?"
Oh,
and
no,
you
no.
are expected to go and do it, kind of thing.
yeah,
like you do
no,
in the
no.
States.
It's if I was based in America, probably, but
Yeah.
because we're a global company, and sometimes I have to explain to my boss about the way that we do things over here. They're all based on employment laws and stuff. They're like, really? Like I was telling you, if we get made redundant over here, there has to be a consultation process. It has to take 30 days. They got to do this. They got to do that. You get minimum payments over there. If they want to leave, they don't want you anymore. They just
There's
say,
the door.
go and pack your things. Security will take you off the
Yeah.
And there's just like, really, yeah, really. I mean, she phoned me up today.
Free my arm.
I know she phoned me up today because she'd heard she's Czech. Yeah, she's Czech. So she's kind of got a European. She's lived over in America for a long while, but she's still got a European thing. But she'd heard on the news that Keir Starmer had abolished the NHS. I said, no, no.
Abolished?
He's abolished NHS England, which is just a top tier administrative thing that the Tories created about 10, 12 years ago.
Yeah, a load of people getting a load of money for doing fuck all.
Exactly, and then fucking it up. Yeah.
Yeah.
But no, I just can't stand this whole corporate stuff, and it does my head in. And then I sit here and think, well, to earn what I earn, because it's not just about the money. It's not just about earning whatever it is that I get paid, but also the fact that they also pay into my pension.
Yeah.
That and I don't have to worry. I get paid holiday, whereas if I'm self-employed, I might not be able to take holiday. There's a lot of comfort in being employed on a sort of fixed long-term contract, but it's
No, likewise, like I have a corporate job, and I've sort of made my peace with it as well. And it's a vernacular of the that just grates me after a while,
yeah.
leveraging this and all that.
Oh yeah.
But
I find
I'm the
myself
same.
saying
Like if I lost my job today, it wouldn't be the end of the world because
I
I'd be
wish
able
I
to pay
could.
I'd be able to pay the mortgage with the music, but it just to match my current salary and everything else,
What if I could sack myself?
and then sue yourself for
Yeah, and then
Unfair
sue myself.
dismissal.
compensation.
Unfair
Yeah.
dismissal, and then live off the takings.
Yeah. I know it's terrible. I've said this before. It's a terrible thing to say when so many people are looking for decent work.
Yeah.
Right now, if I open up my email tomorrow at work and it said we're making your position redundant,
You'd throw a party, wouldn't you?
I'd be like, brilliant, right, there you go, because I know that
Yeah.
I've been there so long. They'd have to, I'd get a decent chunk of redundancy for the time that I've been there. That'll keep me going for, I don't know, 6 months if I'm lucky, and then I can really sort of like focus on doing the stuff I want to do and getting to
Yeah.
that point. So at the end of the 6 months, when that money runs out, I'm completely self-sufficient again.
Well, as far as the 65-year-old cut-off point, how far off are you?
What, from retirement?
From 65, yeah.
Oh well, no, the retirement age is 67. So
Shows you how
I'm
much I know.
12 years. I'm 12 years away from official retirement.
Right.
But as my accountant said to me when I started up this business, he said, "You do realise, Rob, we're probably going to be the first generation that can't retire, can't afford to retire." Which is a depressing thought. Which is why I then, that's the thing that always brings me back sort of down is pension, because I was very late starting my pension because I just couldn't afford. I fucked my finances up good and proper for a good 15 years or so.
Yeah.
Didn't have a pension at all. And it was only when I joined this company, so it's 13 years ago this year, that I actually started up a proper pension and chucking as much as I can into that, and they chuck as they match it. And just got to hope that the world doesn't go to complete shit and the value of the pension tanks.
Well,
Depressing thought, isn't it?
I'm not actually wanting to retire at all. I just want to do something different now.
Yeah.
I've done
Well,
this. It's
But
worn
you're
out.
in that, and I know you'll sort of snort at this, but you are in that sort of enviable position of being your own boss, doing your own thing. Whether you have frustrating days or not, you have that kind of
No,
flexibility.
do not get me wrong. I know how lucky I am and how lucky I've been. There's no two ways about it. And I'm very grateful to whoever is responsible. Oh, no, wait, it's me. Thank you, me. But it's not that I don't want to work. It's I don't want to be doing this any longer. The idea of going into manufacturing really, really appeals. Big time.
So
But
it's repairs you don't want to.
yeah, it's getting too difficult. It's getting too hard to get the parts.
Yeah.
Because of pricing and everything, especially when the machines are costing so much to buy now, the market's cooling. And the general customer base now are, well, wankers, really. For want of a better, just sort of like, pedantic and, mentally damaged in some way. I don't know what's going on. It's just the old, you're getting a customer coming around and, all right, mate, come sit down, have a cup of tea and everything. Right, what do you need done? And blah, 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 blah. Great. Do I need to pay you anything now? No. It's all when it's done. And all that sort of thing. Now it's all just uphill struggle, hard work, chasing people for money. No. And this is on top of, being up until 3 o'clock in the morning hunting for a fecking IC somewhere on the planet so I can get this machine done. And it's just not fun anymore.
The chasing people for money just takes so much of the energy out of things.
Well, as it stands now, I'm owed altogether about 25 grand. And yet I'm working every single day. And my bank account is, it actually, if you had a look at my bank account, it actually reads like a Jimmy Carr joke, actually. It's quite hilarious. So from that point of view, I'm going, manufacturing, I'll be working 7 days a week and, especially getting it off the ground. And there's lots of money to pay out, although I've already invested in it over years. And, pretty much got everything from a tool point of view. I've got everything I need now. And weirdly, I'm switching over to SMT, which is what I try to avoid with the Synths. But I'm dealing with SMT on my terms rather than how they've gone about it. So I've got to go SMT because that's the only way you can get the ICs that I need. And and going to Eurorack. And the reason I'm going into Eurorack is simply because it's the lowest investment option. In terms of building, like a synthesizer with a keyboard, front panel knobs and LEDs and shit and cheeks, big money. Big money. But making a little unit on an aluminium front panel, nowhere near the level.
And it can be prototyped for close to nothing.
Yeah. Though weirdly, it's still cheaper to go and get 50 boards printed up in China than it is 10 miles up the road.
Sure. That's what I mean, yeah.
Which is stupid.
Do you think that accounts for the explosion in the Eurorack market? in that respect.
It's quite possible. It is quite possible. But my idea is to bring something to Eurorack from my neck of the woods. Right, so
There's probably not many people on the planet that have got the experience with the 80 that you have.
well, the thing is, well, look, like Wags says about building the anaglyph later. Yeah, do you know what? The anaglyph won't go away. It doesn't go away. But I don't have. I mean, I went into the whole anaglyph thing. It was kind of a bit fairy tale, to say the least. Yes, there was people with serious money were very, very interested, and they go, this could be handy, this could finance it. At least 3 customers wanted to pay up front for their anaglyph. And that would be enough money to do it and move on, yeah? However, all right, Andy?
Hey,
Wait.
However, I didn't want to put myself into a position where I've got to build something that was at that point untested,
Yeah.
unrealised, and then take, just over what, £250,000. I go, yeah, I'll hang on to this £250,000 and start spending it on things, and you may get a sense at the end of it.
Yeah.
I go, well, there's a sleepless night.
the good news about your rack is it's ever growing and plenty of room for more players, and it's easy to produce. So
Yeah.
it's,
I mean, one thing I'd like to bring to Eurorack, I don't know if it, I would imagine it has it, but I would like to bring something to Eurorack like the Digisound Alpha DAC, which allowed you to play Eurorack polyphonically.
well, Deptford has a lot of those quad modules, so they already
Yeah.
have polyphony.
Yeah, but introduce something like get MPE involved.
And
Do you
there's
know what I mean?
the poly, that British company makes the poly something or other. I forgot what it's called. They make the kick cane. They make a bunch of different modules, and one of them was the first easily to use polyphonic module.
Yeah.
I forgot
Because
the
it's
name
weird,
of
because
the
at the
company.
moment, when you think about it, in terms of new equipment, whether it be, conventional type synthesizers, drum machines and stuff like that, or, or the Eurorack market, it's a very active market. And it's still active regardless of the fact that things are getting squeaky and tight for everybody. It's still quite an active market. Whereas at the same time, the vintage market has just gone...
Also, you're talking about your bank account. We can see it all around you right now. All
Yeah.
your recent purchases.
Yeah. Let's say there was a lot of HP going on. So, but yeah, it's now that I can, I can sit down and do that, and I can get on with, designing and prototyping, and then obviously leading on to building actual products. Fine. I don't mind working every day that God sends to do it. That's
Plus,
not
you already had
that's
the
not problem.
prototype in the garage, right? So you already have built parts of what you're going to do.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of the preliminary designs for the anaglyph were already done and tested, but there was still plenty to do, and it started to require much larger amounts of money. And I've gone,
Yeah.
"Oh." So what I had to do is work more, which means less time to do the developing, to make the money so I could do the developing, and it became a very vicious circle that wasn't working, and in the end I just had to abandon it. But then I thought for a while that maybe the final nail in the coffin was when Tom's released that
The Colossus.
the Colossus and the Maximus and stuff like that. Now once they came out, I was going, is it necessary to have the anaglyph with things like that? Admittedly, all right, the anaglyph was going to be like polyphonic and all the rest of the cobblers.
Well, you're going to have more engines, right? So you're going to be different.
Oh yeah, it would be different, but I was encouraged by how many Maximuses Tom sold. It was a lot more than I thought he would sell. Because you see something that big at that money, and you'd go, "What? he'll sell what 4, 5 of them, something like that. But I think he sold about 75 of them or something.
Well, I
It's
think
ridiculous.
he predicted he had to sell like 25 to break even, didn't he?
Yeah.
Something like that. And that's the Colossus, you mean, isn't it? The big one.
Yes, that was the big one. Yeah, but
Yeah,
the Maximuses, I think he sold quite a few of them.
Yeah.
They did really well. But see, the other thing is that the way I was going to be manufacturing the anaglyph was very much sort of like along the lines of the Minimogues ethos. So it was, mahogany case and all that sort of cobblers. So you're talking a lot of money
Well,
just in materials.
Look at all the work you put into the touch digital controller, right? So that's
Yeah, exactly. Now, funny enough, I got it into my head that it'd be nice to have touch written on the side of those end cheeks. And of course, when the wood arrived, because there was this wood merchants, and they said they would cut them out to shape. I went, cool, but they did. And what they did was they just sent me blocks with the top bit cut out. That's cut to shape. I said, yeah, but it's got to have the chamfers all the way around, 45
it's
degree
not
chamfer.
tapered. It's not.
Yeah, and it's got to be all tapered out, and then you've got to have touch engraved into the side of it. I go, I'll do it myself. So I set up all the CNC to do this, and my God, it was so much work.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, just writing touch into the side of these end cheeks.
Having done my share of woodwork in high school and stuff like that, I just was blown away by how much you put into
Yeah,
that.
but you see the thing, because that was the thing. Cutting out the word touch in the side of the end cheek was one thing. You go, yeah, but then you had to prep it as well. You had to get rid of all the bits and pieces so it was actually smooth, polishable wood, but in this recess. And it was, mate, the amount of times, hours with a Dremel, sanding down the inside of the letters.
Yeah.
And all this sort of thing, and then so you could stain it and polish it and stuff like that. It's like madness, absolute madness. It puts so much work time onto just, one individual build.
And because you touch each one
ridiculous.
separately, they all have some variation, which makes it more unique.
Yeah. So, and of course, I had this thing where you have to switch the files because you have it touching left hand and then touching right hand. And you think, well, no, all you do is you put the block in the other way and it writes touch the other way. But the CNC wasn't liking this, and I had to have 2 files. And if I didn't, if I forget to set the file, it put touch in back to front on the end cheek. And it's like, it's just driving me nuts. But it ended up putting so much work on it. But the thing is, we didn't know how many we were going to sell. So although we sold 50. I'd actually made 150 end cheeks, sets of end cheeks.
But you said you tossed them, right?
Yeah, no, don't fit anything else. So,
Yeah.
And then 50 powder coated front panels. As
I
well.
see there's some expensive firewood there. So
Yeah. So, but they did come in useful for propping flower pots up and stuff like that. I think we've still got some of them knocking around the house got some sort of job that they're doing.
wow.
So, and there was like boxes and boxes of those aluminium knobs left, and all that, and cutting all the ribbon cables because I made all the cables by hand, all those ribbon cables, and there was a lot of ribbon cables in one of them.
Yeah.
And it was just, mate, just making hundreds and hundreds because we made enough for 150, but we ran out of money after we'd completed the first 50. So, I don't know. But I was pleased with the way it went out.
Even if that's the only thing you ever made like that, you still have something to be proud of. So.
Well, yeah. So, yeah, was it ideal? No, but it was better than doing nothing. Absolutely.
Yeah.
And you know, and when you see things like a picture of Eric Persing using his, you know, in Sound on Sound Mag or something like that, and you go, oh, there you go. You know?
I did that. Yeah.
But it's also this thing where it started a conversation between me and Eric Persing about doing the controller for Omnisphere. But what he wanted and how much it was going to be to build. I mean, clearly, Eric had more money than I did. I just bankrupted a company. I had, you know, I didn't have a pot to piss in, and I had, I think it was somewhere in the region of about £45,000 in debt, because everything I'd bought had been done on my mum's credit card, which was at 29.5% APR.
Oh man.
And it took so long to pay it off, and I had to sell so many things. But I got it paid off, and that had to be paid off before I could start going into another project. Of course, he's eager to do this, and he wants to have a Mac Mini inside this cherry red anodized aluminium case, and all the special sliders on the top for the monitors and stuff like that. You can move and angle these different touchscreens to use Omnisphere. It was basically going to be an Omnisphere keyboard, so the sounds were in the case.
Yeah, that's cool.
And he said, yeah, we can do it. He said, we can work out all the licensing and everything, get that all sorted out. And I'm going, oh, okay. And so I priced up what it would cost to build one. And it was scary. It was scary money.
I'll bet.
And he had a target price. And I said, we cannot build this. I can't build this in this country for that target price. It would have to be manufactured in China. But after I designed the synth, I mean, he loved the design. I still got 3D pictures of it knocking around. I mean, it's years now. I mean, I can show them now. Initially, it was all NDA'd, you know.
Yeah, you showed him a few months
and
ago.
sort of like after a few years, go, come on, it's never going to happen, so people can see it. And it's just one of those things where he wanted me to finance it, and I really didn't have the money to do it. So, but weirdly, the reason I was having that conversation with him is because of doing the controller that fucked me up in the end, so I couldn't do his controller.
Yeah.
So the irony is palpable. So, but I also learnt a lot of things. So like when I go into, start off doing these Euroracks, I know certain pitfalls I will not fall down this time. And keep a much closer eye on costs as well.
Yeah.
I wasn't really focusing on the costs very much, because I'm up to my arse in CNC tools and sanders and fucking Christ knows what else. So you live and learn.
What was the CPU for the digital part of the anaglyph? What were you using for that?
Oh my God!
It's not simple stuff like Atmega and stuff like that, right?
No, see, I had the thoughts of using, literally like a PC board.
Right.
So with the current processor of the day, that was going to take care of all the digital side of it. But of course, that's all moved on.
Yeah.
Again. So if I was to sit down and go, right, make the digital controller for the anaglyph, it would be a completely different design to the one I previously had. So madness, mate.
You didn't have to worry about heat and all that stuff.
Mind you, the inside of the case is so big, bags of air, bags of air. And every anaglyph comes with a prawn stuck under the power supply board. Did go, what is that smell? Since we bought this, there's been this weird smell in the studio. What is it?
Just signature. Yeah.
Yeah. Why do I want sushi? What's going on?
It's a seafood synth.
Yeah. So, but yeah, I mean, and then of course things like the price of mahogany went through the roof. So the pricing of just the case, because I mean, you know how big it is, don't you?
Yeah.
And it's like, yeah, you're looking at about £1,000 worth of mahogany now, and that's before you've done anything to it. You know.
So if you start making the Eurorack modules, are they shallow enough to go into a skiff, or do you have to put it in a full case?
Oh, they should be able to fit into, like, you know, ideally anything that can go into a Go case.
Okay.
Yeah. So, yeah. So I mean, you know, you stay with the guidelines and constraints of what Eurorack works on.
Well, it's just because that's part of the problem with 2HP. They make the modules so skinny, they have to go somewhere, so they go back.
Right.
And they're too deep to go into anything above 70 millimeters or something like that, 80 millimeters, whatever.
Well, I must admit that see, I still don't understand what an HP is, and I think I should go into manufacturing.
Sauce you
Eurorack.
put on your sausages.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
It's the brown stuff, isn't it? Eh?
Yeah.
And I should know what an HP is before I start.
Well, it's
designing
basically like 2HP is essentially wide enough to have jacks and switches vertically and nothing else. So that gives you an eyeball.
Yeah, but what is an HP?
A horizontal pitch? I don't know. I don't know if Depper made that up.
There must be
a
a set. It must be a set measurement,
I'm sure there is. But
and then you know, like you have 3U, 2U rack round stuff.
One
you
bottle
know?
of sauce, 2 bottles of sauces, 3 bottles.
A whole row of
Yeah,
sauces.
never correlated them with inches or centimeters. I don't know.
I looked it up once a long time ago. There is a number, but nobody uses
Yeah.
it. So
Well, I need to go into this armed with that information.
Like
Sort of thing, you know.
That's 8, which is I don't know.
Yeah.
Inch and a
Yeah.
half.
So if you look at a 2HP module, it's literally just wide enough to fit a jack with a tiny bit of space on either end.
So the HP refers to the width.
The width. Yeah.
Okay, Wags. So it's 0.2 inches or 5.08 millimeters.
Why?
Why did they pick
That's
5.08?
Depper did, I think. It's
Yeah,
one of his deals.
that's 4, and it's tiny. Like it's just about enough.
Yeah. Now the modules I have in mind then
For a
are
pot.
quite wide and have quite a few controls upon them.
You see, and here's another reason why I just think Eurorack is fucking pointless and infuriating.
Easy now.
What is it about Eurorack?
Small means portable,
Specifically,
though. That's good.
What is it about Eurorack you find pointless?
No. What I don't.
All right,
seem
what
to get-
you're not gelling with?
Yeah, I don't like the fact that the way you work with a lot of Eurorack, not all of it, obviously, but a lot of Eurorack. This idea is this notion of a sea of spaghetti really annoys the fuck out of me, because you do all of that and then you've got to get in there to get to the controls. To me, it doesn't seem very intuitive.
You can clean it with routing stuff.
No, but I mean, you can't. Once you've made this wonderful patch on your thing, and you've got to wade through the cables to get to the twiddly knobs and bits and bobs and stuff. That always just
Yeah, I get you. I get you.
I use cable wraps. It gets them out of the way. It's fine.
But it doesn't get everything out of the way, does it?
It makes nice little
But it's
bundles.
that's a compromise that's come up after the fact, isn't it?
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
It is a genuine mess. Like, I have to say.
I mean, at least it's not the 1/4-inch cables with these giant fucking things everywhere. It's like
No,
little
but
cables
at least
moving
with
around.
at least with your 5U stuff and with the 1/4-inch jacks, everything was bigger and more spread out.
Oh, it was still
Yeah, you look
exactly
at
the
a
same.
system
But the cables
55.
are still in the way. That's
Yeah,
Yeah.
the
Oh
problem.
no. Yeah.
Exactly the
Absolutely.
same.
No.
Exactly
Yeah.
the
Don't get me
same.
wrong. Yeah. Absolutely. I don't like the fact that there's just so much of it, and I'm a very compulsive, addictive person, and I know that if I got into it, if I was actually motivated to get into it, I would end up just sinking a ton
does
of money.
it sort of like poke your ADHD about tidiness of a front panel?
I don't think it's that so much. It's just like it just doesn't seem very conducive to.
Well, it's stupidly expensive
And there's
for how much
that.
of it
I buy
you
everything
need
used, so it's
to
not
get
that bad if you buy
anything
used.
So,
productive done.
but you would be all right maybe with something that was normalized and had breakout points, like the
Like a
2600, for instance.
Yeah, but with the
MS-20,
26,
yeah.
but with the 2600, I would only ever use a cable on it if it was absolutely necessary. But you don't have to with the 2600. That's the thing.
Well, some of the goodies, though, you want to.
Yeah, but I don't know. It doesn't appeal to me. And I think also the fact, and I know I'm going to upset a lot of people when I say this, but the vast majority of stuff that I hear made by people using Modular is not the kind of music I enjoy listening to and or making.
It's true. I mean, not too many Cortinis out there and Cianis making actual music with their modules. So.
Yeah, and even then, it's it's not always. I know. I look at people like Martin Gore, for example, who has got wall to wall Modular and stuff, and I know that a lot of mode stuff originates, and he'll get some sort of loop thing going, but then he'll take that, assuming he'll take that and stick it in a sampler or something, and then he's got this kind of loop going. It just doesn't appeal. It really, nothing about it makes me want to even try it.
So the setup I have, well, first it's all my own modules that I made, but also I control it all through MIDI, through my DAW, and I know some people like that or whatever, but it means I can actually send a full composition to it and then actually craft a sound as it's playing or looping on repeat, and I've done a couple of covers like that on my channel where it's not just loops, it's a full composition that I can then send through MIDI to my URAC, and the whole purpose of the URAC is actually to be able to precisely craft the exact sound that I want to do with it.
Yeah.
But you need so much gear to do something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess, I mean, I was talking about doing this video that I've been working on the last 3 or 4 days, and I was having this conversation this afternoon with the lady that requested it, and she was trying to convey to me certain things about this video, and she was jumping all over the place, and we both realised that I think in a very linear way. I see a beginning and I see a passage to an end, and that's how I think.
Yeah.
And I think that's, if you stick a keyboard synthesizer in front of me, I can see the signal flow from left to right or whatever.
Yeah.
And it's there. Whereas with a Eurorack system,
Well, you lay it out exactly how you want it. You're building it.
yeah,
So
I
you
know.
can make it linear.
Yeah, but it's never the way you want it.
Yeah, and then you'll end up changing it.
Yeah, you change it, but I mean, you can make it completely linear and boring if you want
Yeah.
to. So
Yeah, but then the amount of people I see, I mean, how many times have I heard, like, any of you guys who are into it, say, oh, yeah, I ripped it all out and put it all back in a different way so I can do this. And I just want to, I want to go, I know I can go to this and I know exactly what I can get out of it, or I can go over there and know exactly what I get out of that. And all of them are pretty powerful and they all do certain things. And I just don't, it's messy, it's unorganized, and the vast majority of stuff that I hear that comes out of this is just annoying bleeps and bloops, and there's no real, what I call, musicality. There's no structure or
that's
anything.
the tendency when people come out of it, they're not comfortable with making actual melodic stuff with it. They just tinker and make goofy stuff. But you can
it's
go...
synthesis. A lot of the time, I think it's synthesis for people who aren't very musical.
Well, no, that's the approach the beginners take. But as you get into it more, I everything I do with my modular is at least half melodic and half crazy, weird sounds and soundscapey stuff, because I want to make actual music with it. I don't want to do just weird ass stuff with it only. But if you want to do weird ass stuff, it's also a great experimental thing. You spend 5 hours goofing around and whoa, where'd this come from? And then you add some melodic stuff on top of it, and proper rhythms and all this kind of stuff. So you're not confined. The Eurorack is not confined to being
it's a
dopey
complete,
like that.
It's a complete sort of blank canvas, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly.
I understand the appeal of that.
It's just that it takes a discipline that a lot of people don't want to do. They just want to tinker and have fun, and there's nothing wrong with that. I do that too. But if I want to make something to release, like stuff I've done live at EMOMs and stuff I've done for Clownfest and Harbor Jams with Modular, it has to have some melodic content. Otherwise, I'm not that happy with it. So
Well, there's people who like to drive a car, and there's people who like to ride a bike, and there's people
As
who
I've-
like to
as-
ride both.
I'll tell you
I've-
what Modular
I've
has
just-
done. Sorry,
Go on,
ahead.
carry on. Come. No,
No,
go
I'll
on.
tell you what Modular has done for me, because I'd be very similar to you, though, Robbie. Ultimately, I like a synth that does one thing really well, or a few things, and then I know where the parameters are for that particular machine. Like, but what Eurorack has done for me is just it's made fucking around fun again.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's fun.
As in, I can literally just spend one evening coming up with nothing on that machine, but I've had fun for 3
It's
hours.
like meditative, right? You're just goofing around.
Yeah,
and-
yeah. And I'd stopped doing that with music a long time ago. I think because of the channel, and everything. But it just it's brought back the fucking around for no reason whatsoever. Back into music, which.
It's play. It's
I
like a
missed,
sandbox. It's good for you.
But I'm
good for some.
also
It's good
very
for some.
conscious that it is mostly fucking around.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there does seem to be a lot of fucking around.
It's Mac versus PC in the music world.
No,
It's a little
no,
different.
I
than
wouldn't.
that.
I wouldn't.
Yeah,
I
it's
wouldn't go with that. Mac and PC essentially do the same thing, but with slightly different things. Modular and traditional keyboard-based synthesis.
It's
are-
Raspberry Pi versus desktop.
Yeah, it could be.
Put it this way: the first time you put some modules together and you're trying to figure out what an envelope actually does
Yeah.
behind the scenes,
Yeah.
you're like, "What the fuck? Oh, that's how it works." Because you
Yeah.
don't think about it when you hit knobs and switches on a pre-made unit. When you
know,
have to
that's a-
jack things through and change the signal flow, you're like, "Oh, now I get it."
That's a good point. It's actually forced me to understand the proper sense that I have
Yeah.
better. Like, actually understand. All right, that's what happens when you use the envelope for the filter instead.
Exactly,
You know,
yeah.
all that kind of stuff.
Because it's not intuitive like you think it is. It's intuitive with a pre-made synth with simple settings. But once you have to route the actual signals yourself and understand what's really happening, like Kent having to track down circuits on a board, you have to understand what you're really doing, and that's good for you. I mean, it takes work and it's frustrating, but at the end of the day, you learn so much and you look at things from a different point of view. So
Yeah, because when I started repairing synthesizers, I didn't realise that the audio from the VCO going into the filter was on all the time.
yeah,
I thought it only happened when you push the key.
no,
Didn't
that's the
realise it was
gating from the
constant.
yeah,
Yeah,
from the
exactly.
envelope.
And the gating comes right at the end
Yeah,
of the process. Yeah. And I go, I had no idea they were on all the time.
Yeah, you're just conveniently closing the door to ignore it.
Yeah, but you don't get that impression from the outside
Not
when
at
you're
all.
using the synth.
no,
You think that like nothing's making any sound until I push this key. And you go, well, no, actually, it's screaming its
always on.
bollocks off, 24/7. But when
Yeah.
you push the key, it allows that one through at that pitch that you've pressed. Yeah,
yeah. It's a great learning experience. I mean, that's why at least semi-modular are great for education because you're forced to patch a little bit, so you learn it more than just moving knobs and switches and buttons.
I think the only downside to modular really is the cost.
Again, only if you buy. I don't buy anything new. Everything's used.
No, but like if you have to pay €100 for a VCO or like it's just, or even 90 euro or dollars or whatever, but that's just too expensive for something you just want to mess with.
yeah, I know what you mean.
But you also remember you're paying for all those patch points, all the extra hardware that makes it work. So they are more expensive to make in
Oh,
that
that-
respect.
I understand. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's worth it. But I totally get the argument about I hate the music that comes from it because look, someone buys
No,
a
I
$40,000
hate some of the
Buchla
music.
system.
I hate
I know,
some
but
of
most of the Buchla stuff you hear sounds like shit because again they go. It's like 50, 60 sci-fi music, and it's not appealing after a while. It sounds, but I think everyone has to go through that period of noodling and playing with that, and then work in the stuff you're used to doing with other equipment and kind of hybridize your approach.
there is that there's always been that difference between listening to music and listening to sounds. You know?
Yeah,
I mean, both have their own merits.
I mean, I've sat and watched and heard people with a modular setup of some description, and they happen across, they'll have maybe an arpeggiator that's just running, and then they're feeding it through a particular module that's doing a certain thing, and they'll just spend hours just, opening and closing the filter or changing the envelope shapes, and yet all it's doing is going, and it's after a couple of minutes of that, I'm just like, move on.
Yeah, you have to vary it. But
Yeah,
a lot of people's favorite Tangerine Dream period is their super modular period in the 70s.
Yeah.
That's all modular, and it's beautiful and glorious, and all kinds of changes and all kinds of weird modulations and stuff. And that was what they had to use because of the time period. But at the same time, it has gloriously made that sound. So
It's not a modular problem; it's a sequencer problem, though. I mean,
yeah,
if you're using a 5-step sequencer,
But also another thing that I personally have not a problem with, but I like chords, I like melodies, I like structure and all that kind of stuff, and you just can't do that on a modular.
Well, this
you
is why I
chain a
would
bunch of
like
modules together. Yeah, you can.
This is
Yeah.
this is what the anaglyph was.
But I could, yeah.
Modulate. You got all the patch point, because like when say Emerson or Tangerine Dream, they're using a 55 or a 3C Moog. They've got patch cables everywhere. It's doing all sorts of stuff. You've got access to a really decent 3-channel 8-step sequencer that you can send to different places, or you can get them to cycle between the 3 or whatever. And you can play this huge sound that's got like 9 VCOs. And you go, well, yeah, you could go and buy 3 mini Moogs. Yeah, but you won't get them to talk to each other.
They won't be the
that does.
same. You don't have
Even
all
though
the
it's
patch points.
exactly the same circuitry.
Yeah.
You're never ever going to get those sounds that you're getting from the same amount of equipment. And you listen to the music, it's fucking great. So this is why because when I repaired a lot of modulars, and I tend to do the same kind of thing, and set up a sequence and mech around, and you're testing stuff and you create interesting noises and stuff. But you don't necessarily play the instrument, and you're limited to the single note at a time. So, which is why I'm approaching Eurorack now, but I'm approaching Eurorack as somebody who loves chords, and likes to be able to play music. So I'm going, right, so I'd like to design a modular system. I'll do modules at a time, but penultimately you can put them all together and you have a system. You can sit down and you can play chords on it. And you have a computer that reads the CVs on the back of the pots and the sockets and can save them as a chart, and you can fucking save it as a preset. And then even if there's no cables in it, and you can push that button and you'll get that sound that you had programmed into that modular. Now, who wouldn't like that?
It's like Buchla has some digital storage and some of their
Yeah,
stuff.
exactly.
So,
Yeah.
So I listen to
That'd be
Andy
ideal.
Synchrotron's streams a lot on a Saturday morning, and I love listening to what he does, mainly because he's used his module and he's come up with a drone or just this backing, and it kind of undulates, but it's pretty much in a zone, and it kind of fluctuates within that the parameters that he's set, and then he gets his guitar out and he starts playing a melody of some description over the top of that, and I think that's beautiful and lush. And Andy, I know you're in the chat, and I want to just want to say that this is by no means, absolutely in no way, a criticism of what you do. I'm not criticizing what you do. What happens a lot with me though when I'm listening to that is I hear the patch that he's got going in on his modular system. In my head, I'm thinking, yeah, but wouldn't it be lovely if it then progressed to this chord or into that key? I'm hearing shifts in, but it doesn't do that because it's designed not to do that. But
no, but you can with the right sequencer, like
yep.
Ollie
But
was
I,
saying.
but what I'm saying is a lot of the stuff that I hear is doing that kind of thing. It has its parameters and it's just moving around within there, and I can hear the chords and I can hear the chord or the key that it's in, and then in my head I'm thinking, but if he then then it moved here and then down there, there was this kind of, because I'm in my head, when the music I like to make is linear. It has a passage, it has a progression, and I don't hear that in a
Robbie,
lot of
you know
modular.
you can do that even with a Moog 960.
Yes, I know you can
And
do
you can
that,
push
but
the key and it will go
so,
to that key.
But so many people don't do that.
Because they either
But
don't
that's
want
not
to or
the
don't know
modular's
how.
fault.
Yeah.
Is
No,
it?
I know, but maybe my dislike of modular is mostly the hardware, and sometimes the people that are using it are just not being as imaginative as they possibly could be. I
But
don't know.
it's funny you use Andy as an example, though. Because
No,
the thing about
as a
thing about
reference point.
Andy, the thing about he can have a set piece going, droning away, and then he will find ways of expressing movement within that, and it gets to the point where, I mean, when he does drone music, I can listen to it. I've heard other people's drone music, and it's like after a couple of minutes, go, yeah, move along, right? Because it depends on what's been done in it, and because Andy's introducing things like the guitar, and of course we're all waiting for him to pick up the Ebo. I love the Ebo.
He plays synths during it too. I mean, I see little
Yeah,
keyboards out
exactly.
there.
So
Yeah.
He's got the
But
Lexus
don't get me wrong, I'm not singling Andy out because of Andy. I'm just using him as a point of reference that we all know about. That's all I'm saying, because there are lots of other people I listen to online that
Funny
are
enough,
doing
look, it says
stuff.
in the chat he basically got bored
Bored with
with
making
actual music.
But there's an interesting phrase.
And I've been there
actual
a few
music.
times. I've been there a few
Well,
times.
accepted music, put it that way. Western accepted music.
Well, I don't even think that's a fair description of it. It's I don't know.
There is
So many
room
people
for
like
both.
pop, and pop is so repetitive, and so many like the 1-4-5 chords and the same shit.
But,
And
I mean, the charts they over the years just got worse, and in the end,
Well,
are just
the charts were-
completely disengaged.
The charts have always been, since the 1950s or whatever, since they were invented, they have been nothing more than a measure of what prepubescent teenage girls like to buy and listen to. That's pretty much it. And I'm not being facetious when I say that. Most,
No, I know what you
if
mean.
you look at the
Yeah.
demographic of people who buy pop music records, it is generally teenage prepubescent girls getting very excited about whatever.
Yeah, a band could be very successful and have a number one simply because the lead singer is
Looks
fuckable.
good. Yeah. So I've never regarded the charts as any measure.
although in the case of Skrillex, he's not fuckable, and his music wasn't appealing to girls. So
well, his music wasn't appealing to humans.
exactly.
Yeah.
But he was very popular. He did very
Apparently
well.
so, yeah. But no, I mean, the charts have never been a measure of quality at all, ever. I don't care whether you say, "Oh, the Beatles had 20 number ones." Yeah, they had 20 number ones because prepubescent teenage girls were actually
Because they
pissing
were the
themselves.
Beatles, yeah.
Because they were the Beatles. It's just a measure of commercial. It's a measure of how well the marketing department's done, rather than the band.
Mr. Blobby.
So yeah, exactly.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
Exactly.
Like you take the Evolver, Dave Smith Evolver, right? The desktop version alone. It's got 4 oscillators in it, 2 digital, 2 analog. It has 4 sequencers in it. You can run it as one giant chord. You can run it as 4 independent sequences, do Tangerine Dream stuff with it. The limitation is your imagination, not the hardware.
Yeah.
So you can do crazy deep stuff with it, or very simple stuff
Well,
with it.
talking of hardware, remember when Sam Fox was in the charts?
Sadly.
Yeah. But why was she there?
Oh, Samantha Fox, yeah.
Yeah.
Knockers, yeah.
Because she get her tits out in the paper every fucking week. Yeah.
You're right to go back. It brings me back to noodling around with my guitar when I was a teenager. That's what it feels like. When it's just me, and I don't actually care who's listening or what, if anybody's in the room. It mostly sounds, not something I put
experimenting.
in a production, but it's just it brings me back to experimenting with my guitar, and I get the same feeling out of that. And maybe sometimes there's a riff, there's something there that I can actually try and reproduce and explore. But that's the beauty of it. It's those moments of just
As a way
finding-
to like a happy accident, as you're noodling around, then you just happily come across a riff and you think, oh yeah, I wouldn't have got
That's all
there
right,
if I
mate.
hadn't.
Go and turn the light on, lie
Yeah.
down.
Yeah, if I wasn't noodling around, I wouldn't have done
Exactly,
that.
yeah.
Now I've got that, so I understand that. But at that point, I would go right. That's. I'll move on from that. I won't sit there noodling much more. I'll be building
Sure.
a song.
But it was
No,
just
but
the
what I
riff
mean
too, like
is-
you said, the sound design part as well. Like some of those sound design things, they take forever to
Yeah.
get a certain sound just right. And you go, oh, I can mix this. I can make. Oh, that doesn't work at all. Mix match, change the volumes, change the filter. Finally, you get something that's like it took you probably days to do, but you wouldn't have gotten there if you didn't put the time into it, and you sound unique enough potentially over some stupid preset somewhere or whatever. So
I think also I don't like the fact that unless you go to great pains to take pictures or make notes, it's that lack of recall. For me
it's ephemeral. You build it, you make the track, and it's gone, and that's
Yeah,
beautiful.
and I know
love
it's
that.
not for me. That's not beautiful for me. I want to be able to go back to that stuff.
Well, I have other synths for that. I don't need that for modular. So
Well, all my synths do that. So
I don't want to go down the same road all the time. I mean, that's why the whole DX7 thing about the same presets used all the time, because nobody wanted to take the time to learn to program it.
yeah, but how many great songs use those presets?
They're great, but after a while, you're like, okay, that's preset number 5 or whatever. Oh, great. Okay, here we go again. And they could have done. When
the
you hear like
trick is-
FM7 and the giant variety of sounds inside the FM space, just picking through the presets, you're like, holy shit, this thing is really diverse. Where was all this in the 80s, right?
Yeah.
It was there.
Barely.
No,
I mean,
no, but
only
no,
a Karma, like Chowney and some other guys doing it with their
The
fucking weird
ability
computers.
was there. People were too lazy to.
Because it was nerdy. The interface wasn't friendly, and
So you
and
tell me Eurorack isn't nerdy?
it's nerdy, but at least you're encouraged to noodle because you have to
Fight.
get a sound out of it. You have to noodle.
How do you really feel about it, Robbie?
Honestly, I know it's a. I know. Look, I know for me, it's a personal thing. I just don't get the appeal. It does not appeal to me. It doesn't interest me. I have no urge. I mean, I've said, I'll never get into it. That's a silly, never say never. But I just cannot see me at any. And I've been playing with synthesizers for 40 odd years, and at no point have I ever gone. I might just, just isn't that thing.
I think it's one of those things you only get it when you get into it, and if you don't want to get into it, but that's
I think
It's like,
if you
not only
spend
did Johnny
half an
work at
hour-
Buchla,
You spend half an hour in front of a Moog 55.
I'd get very frustrated. I'm pretty sure of that.
Do you know what? What you get coming out of it would surpass it.
yeah, you
No,
probably
it's
get over
straight
it
up.
after a while.
Yeah,
It's
because
easier to
you-
use than
What
something.
you're hearing coming out of there, you go, yeah, this is fucking worth it. In much the same way with the DX1 sounds compared to having to carry up the fucking stairs to get it into the studio. Do you know what I mean? There's things you put up with to get to the point you want to be.
Yeah, but I only have to carry it up into the studio once.
Well, you haven't though, have you?
Well, no, because I'm on the ground floor. But yeah,
But look at something like Junkie XL, who literally had everything on the planet for a while before he sold a lot of it. And he still had a giant wall of modular because he loved the exploration of it for his soundtracks, making new timbres. And he put the time in because he could have just used any other synth in that room and mixed and matched and done crazy stuff with it, which he did. But he gravitated to the modular because it took him down a whole different path of exploration and fun and weird shit sometimes. So
another thing I really don't like at the moment about modular as a not as a more as a concept is how it seems to be nowadays that it's kind of the only acceptable way to be into synthesis is that the modular gang is kind of like you're not really properly into synthesis unless you're into modular. There seems to be I seem to pick up on this kind of this
well, it's like
attitude,
analog
this-
snobbery too. Oh, it's
Yeah.
digital, it sucks,
but
so.
it's
Loads of
modular.
that.
If I go to some of these shows like Bristronica and Syntheast, and I'm in the corner there with a bunch of keyboard synthesizers, and I feel very self-conscious that like we're generally the only people there with a bunch of keyboard synths and everything else is all modular, I feel, maybe it's just me, I don't know, but I feel like we're
Andy
looked
says
we're
no,
looked down upon.
He says there's also the little box gang as well,
Right. Yeah.
which is a subgroup.
Mm.
But there's always been that kind of thing
And
going
then
on anyway.
I was reading
Yeah.
something on the internet today. I happened to be directed to Gearspace for something. I rarely go on Gearspace because it's just a hive of scum and villainy. And
Only some threads are good. Most of the time, it's crap.
yeah. And I was trying to look through this one thread that had been quite good because it was talking about a particular synth, and then it's just descended into stuff. And somebody on there posted a comment like, it's like everybody knows that anything in the past, anything that's made software in the last 10, 15 years or so is by far and away better than any hardware. And I'm like, oh, so you're that software snob, and you think you look down upon anyone that has any vintage or even keyboard synthesizers.
This is why I use everything. They're
Did he
all
name
valid.
any?
Use all the
No.
technologies available.
thought so.
Don't nitpick. Just use everything at your disposal.
Just use what you like.
Just try new things
gets
too.
you-
Try
yeah.
everything. Don't just say,
Yeah.
"Oh, software sucks and hardware only." Use it all.
I still make music on Amiga trackers. I mean,
Yeah.
it's just
I mean, I
all
tried to
good.
go back and use some stuff that I used back in the day. It was incredible. It's like fucking hell, trying to make something on a Fairlight.
Yeah.
It's very fucking difficult, and you have to unlearn a lot of the things that you've subsequently learned in the last 20, 30 years. And I just wouldn't. For me, I would rather just if I had a Fairlight up and running in here, I would connect it up via MIDI and I would just load up the sounds and I would just fucking sequence it from Logic or whatever. I wouldn't sit in there.
Just curious, how many times have you done a complete track just in the Fairlight? Have you ever sat and just done a complete?
Just in the Fairlight.
Yeah.
Never.
It's a pain in the ass, right?
Yeah, it's a massive
Yeah,
pain
yeah.
in the ass.
But man, those guys who did it, holy shit! that
Yeah,
stuff-
but 30 years ago, people were going, "This is amazing. This is what I've dreamt of."
Yeah.
But we've moved on so much because of it, not in spite of it, but because of what the Fairlight did.
Yeah.
It enabled us to get to where we are today. It's ground zero for on-screen sequencing and sampling. It's where it all started, but we've made it better. So when you sit here and I can build a sample based instrument in minutes, probably less on a computer screen. But if I go to the Fairlight to fucking do it there, it's just
Also, to me, modular encourages live tweaking more, whether it's a performance or just messing around. You can do that with on any keyboard, and software synths with the controller, all that kind of stuff. But modular, at its very nature, is just more touchy-feely, tweaky, whatever. So I tend to noodle more on those than I do on just in any regular synth.
Well, it's like, funny enough, like working on this JP8, the modulation sources and destinations that you have on that synthesizer, you can make that the most unmusical sounding keyboard on the planet. And yet, it's famous for being extremely musical. So, but, of course, you can send the LFO there and send the LFO there to do this or do that. But what Modular gives you is the ability to send it wherever the fuck you want
Yeah.
at any time.
Well, you see, like when the Prophet 08 came out, they got so many modulation destinations. I'm like, that's all, right? Because I had a lot.
Yeah.
But you go modular, you have not infinite, but you have dozens and dozens and dozens of
Yeah.
possible choices. So.
I think also the other thing is I am lazy. I will certainly hold my hands up. I'm lazy, and so I'm looking for a much more rapid form of
It's not that late,
satisfaction.
Andy. Come on.
Rather than spend 4 or 5 hours.
Instant gratification is always better.
Yeah.
Sure.
But I would much rather sit down with a keyboard, start flicking through the presets, finding a few that I like, maybe tweaking them a little bit, marking them as and I'll start putting things together, or just a lot of the time when I write stuff is I'll just be playing something and that sounds really nice. That's a great patch. And then I'll just start writing a little riff, and then I'll put a little bit of rhythm down to it, and then I'll come up with a bass line. And for me, that's how I, rather than sit down and spend 4 or 5 hours with an arpeggiator going and just tweaking those sounds and hoping that something falls into place. It's just that's the way I do it, and that's, I know it's completely unique and well, for me, it's the way I do it. And modular just doesn't, for me, enter into it.
If I have a specific idea in head, I'll use a preset on the synth or a VST for sure.
Yeah.
It's just so that I want to get that idea down before it goes.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
But,
I mean, for me, that's my main way of building ideas. Always pretty much starts in software. So I'll have, generally, for me, it's Reason, because I know that at the back of my hand, and I can just fire it up, and I've got so many software instruments, and I start playing around. I've got this idea, I'll put it down, and then it's there, and I can come back to it any time, and I can elaborate on it, I can embellish it, I can add to it. Whereas with the modular stuff, you spend hours plugging things in and adjusting stuff and trying different things for a long time before you maybe even get. And then of course you've got to go to bed, or you've got to go to work, or whatever. You either leave everything as it is, and you can't move on to the next thing until you've got that thing down, or you photograph everything, or you make notes or whatever. It just seems a lot of work.
You can also have different setups too. You can have not just everything in one case. You can have different setups, pre-wired.
Yeah. But then it's it's getting it's getting to take up a lot of space. It's getting expensive.
Sure. But it all takes time. That's why I haven't touched mine literally for weeks. I've been busy doing other stuff. I haven't used the modular for, I don't know, maybe at least a month. I haven't done any EMOMs. I haven't done anything, because you do have to have that time to sit and spuck around with it. And I don't have it right now. So.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, me neither. It's very scarce when I use it, but when I do, it's very much like that. But it's for nothing specific. And then
it's just for the fun of it.
Yeah. And then if something comes out of it, then that's bonus. But it just it's understood.
Yeah.
And it's just fun. What happens when I patch this into this? Oh, or you get nothing sometimes. You're going, okay.
Or you get your wife coming. What was that? Don't do that again.
Yeah. Oh well, we've done that one then.
So, if somebody sent you cheap Eurorack modules, you wouldn't use them then?
Look, if somebody, I'm saying, if somebody put it down in front of me, I would have to have a specific, So look, let's just say my editor at Gear New says, right, Rob, I'm having you sent this set, this small Eurorack, setup of however many HPs of stuff, and I want you to write an article on it. Of course, I'm getting fucking paid for it. Of course, I'll do something, but I won't feel incredibly enthusiastic about doing it. But I'm not saying that if that happened and I sat here with 2 sort of rows of Eurorack and I started to figure out. I'm not saying I wouldn't start to begin to maybe understand it a little more, but I've run that scenario in my head a lot, and at no point have I ever gone, all right, yeah, I'll give it a go. It just doesn't.
My gateway was actually just adding more effects to my stuff, but also adding effects that can now be tweaked more with CV and modulation sources of this and that. And you just get a tiny little case, and you get some specially routable effects, wavefolder, LFO, a couple things like that. Or you have LFOs in your synths already you can use. And you just start with that, and just keep this little box, and just use it as a sound idea thingy. And never have to go beyond that if you don't want to. But once you really get into it, I wonder what happens if I do this with this, and that's when your wallet opens up, and then
yeah.
But you can stay in that little world for a while. Get a small case, a couple cool effects that you can't replicate anywhere else, because they have all the modulation points in them and weirdness, and then it's a lot of fun to add that to the stuff you already have.
I mean, I've seen modular artists play, and some of them I've been very impressed with, but mainly they're the ones that use it in a very melodic way, rather than, oh, look how I can make this filter scream, or whatever it is. I just get the impression that a lot of people that are into modular into it just simply because it's a nerdy thing, and they can make some noises with it, but it's just not very musical.
Well, it's like
I'm not saying it's
Cortini.
all.
Cortini did a whole album with OP1, a Buchla Music Easel, and some other like a 200E system or whatever. And that's pretty much it. And you listen to the fucking like Sonoio and stuff. It's like it's melodic as hell, right? So it's
I think for somebody like you, Robbie, that has all this gear and that understands how to work and can do stuff with it, I think I agree. Modular is probably not a route you want to get into
Yeah.
because.
And
But
so
I
the thing
think
is,
for somebody who doesn't know much about synthesizers and just wants to kind of experiment and dabble and doesn't want to spend a grand or $2,000 all at once, modular is great because you can just do it in small batches. And if you get a brand cheap enough, it's
you know, I sit and watch some of the stuff that Alex Ball does with his Roland system, and I love the tone of that Roland system.
yeah.
I love the sounds that it makes. I don't profess to understand how he gets it to do what he does with it, but it does sound amazing. And I do something. Oh, I'd love that sound, and I could get that. You know, I could go down that route by buying maybe by the Behringer versions of those modules, and I'd get close without having to spend an absolute fortune on a system 700. But that I can get that Roland sound through some plugins, without having all the hassle of going through. But somebody like Alex, when you listen to some of the stuff that he comes up with using that module, it's all incredibly musical and it's melodic and it has a structure to it, and because that's what he is. He's a musician rather than somebody who's just noodling and experimenting a lot. I'm sure he may do some of that, but he's always coming at it from, how can I use this to write a song or a piece, a structured piece of music that has a progression, but it is a lovely sounding thing. And yeah. I don't know.
but you can say that about any instrument. It's just
Yeah.
even a banjo.
even a fucking banjo or a burger.
Yeah.
Interesting.
No, the cost to entry is the main problem for me for Eurorack, to bring people in. Like,
And I do have some music concrete, Steve. I do have some music concrete. I don't profess to be a massive fan of it, but I do have some. I have some Pierre Schaeffer in my record collection. But you see that's another thing. See, like you're talking about music concrete and making music with found sounds and all that kind of stuff. For me, that's that's sampling. Whether you're using tape or whether you're using digital RAM and stuff, you can build all that, and that's fine. You can build that stuff through sounds. There's just something about the whole modular modus operandi that I just don't get it.
But do you have a copy of 4033 on vinyl?
No. No, but I can shut my door and sit here for 4 minutes and 33 seconds and have my own very version of it. I have the sheet music.
That's it. I love when they do the performance and the guy actually turns the pages. It's so fun.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. No, the thing is, if we were all the same, it would be very, very fucking boring. So I'm glad that I'm delighted overall that there are people who are into modular and that they make the music they want to make and they're very happy with that, and that's all that matters. What I think of it or what anybody else thinks of it is absolutely nothing to do with it. If you get a huge amount of enjoyment from whether it's keyboards or modules, power to you, and I would never take that away from you. It's just that that particular way is not mine.
Modular is to music what Dark Souls is to video games.
Good point. Good point. Yeah.
oh, Dark Souls. Isn't that the one that Elon Musk cheated on?
No, that's what is it? Path of Exile.
That's Path of Exile. Paid some guy to get him the top scores.
Yeah, 17 more times, Andy, and I'm converted.
You're supposed to say it with a candle behind a mirror.
That's it, yeah.
Oh, that's interesting.
I said I'd never get into modular, and then I started making my own modules.
There you go. Never
Listen,
say
I could
never.
sit here
To
and
be
think-
honest, they cost me a tenner to make, so I can get a big setup for quite cheap.
I mean, I can sit here and think about synthesizers, and I often do that. But I'll be thinking about, keyboard, keyboard synthesizers or drum machines or something like that. And I'll sit here and I'll flick through eBay or Andertons or whatever, Toman, and I'm starting to think, yeah, I could do stuff with that. I look at Modular, I do not get that at all. I don't. It just doesn't light any fires in me. So,
Yeah, I don't. To be honest, I don't shop for modular either.
Yeah.
I did. I took a break. But
I
the
make them. I make
but,
them.
guitar
or
pedals are modular too, right? I mean, that's just a form of modular.
I'll take it easy now.
Guess how many guitar pedals?
It's true.
Yeah.
Well, guitar pedals are great for augmenting stuff. That's how I got my start with cheap Casio stuff and guitar pedals,
Yeah.
and then cheap racks, and then some other stuff. And then I just picked up that Mogafogger the other day, my first one, and that's also modular essentially, right? Even though it's used for a mini Moog most of the time, it's a form of modular.
So I even tried VCV rack and voltage modular. I've got all. So Cherry Audio, they were very kind to me, and they said, "Here you go, try voltage modular." So I've got like a ton of fucking modules in voltage modular, and I even the virtual versions, where there's no expense, with VCV free. I mean, I genuinely thought when VCV came out, I thought maybe this is the in for me. Maybe that's it. Start off with where I don't have to spend any money, but all the functionality and the magic of putting whatever you want with it, whatever you want. Still nothing, just dead. It was just, I was numb to it.
I'm starting to think it's not for you, Robbie.
Yeah, you think you think.
See, that's why you like Reason. You hit the button, it flips around, the cables disappear, and
Do you know how I when they brought in auto patching, that was it. I didn't need to worry about it. I didn't like that aspect of it. I know it's a powerful thing, and yes, I have dabbled with that, but it's, to me, that's kind of more like it's kind of it's a side thing to the main thing. But me, mostly with Reason, is just instruments in a rack, triggered by me playing stuff into the sequencer and then playing it back again. I'm just that's me. That's how I got into making music electronically, was with computers and sequencers and playing on a keyboard, and that's me.
Okay. We still love you.
Thank you.
you just I'm just a boy looking at a modular, asking it to love me.
I mean, I wish that I could have gone around Kent's when he had that all set up, the system, the Behringer System 55, and maybe I could have stood in front of that and had an epiphany. But no.
Do you know what would cure you?
Go on. What?
Matrix
Hang on.
panels.
Sorry?
Matrix panels.
Matrix panels. Well, you see, that I've got the Matrix Brute, and that is, when you think about it, it's kind of,
Yeah.
yeah.
Little buttons replacing the cable.
Yeah. But with instant recall and with no cables blocking the controls. And,
And you can do root artwork with it too.
And you can do artwork
Yeah,
with it as well.
exactly.
Put a big dick on your pen.
Yeah. Unfortunately, it's over on there on the shelf now, so we can't.
No, you can't have that on there.
Yeah, I would need to bring it down.
Or a strategically placed mirror.
I stupidly put it on like the second shelf from the top, so getting it down is going to be a bit of a.
Uh-huh.
Getting it up was easy. It's just getting it down I'm always worried about. I have to have some help. Yeah. I was looking at the, as I said to you the other day, I was looking at that Behringer MS5. I was watching some videos and thinking that's sad. I know the SH5, the whole kind of SH5-7 stuff sounded quite unique. But no, even when Behringer started bringing out all this very affordable modular stuff, for a brief second I thought, maybe I could just buy a few bits of that and it won't cost me the earth, and I'll prove to myself one way or the other whether it's for me or not. But that just very quickly disappeared out of my head. So
Yeah,
Well, also there's semi-modular stuff too. You can get little.
well, I've got that Matrix Brute 2S. That
No,
Matrix
but
Brute.
also the Behringer little
Brute
boats
2S.
and stuff. The little.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
But I've got that. I mean, that Mini Brute 2S, and it comes with a pack of cables and that little patch panel. And I sat here with it when I first got it with the the recipe book, whatever you want to call it, with all the different patches that you can make in. And I'm like, this is a bit of a fucking ball ache. Just do okay. And yeah, I appreciated, once I'd completed the patch that was presented to me on the page, I could see, I understood why it was doing what it was doing. What I heard was nice, but I didn't think, not for one moment did it light a spark that made me think, I can maybe try something else and go off into my own little world. It was almost just like it's a necessity to to tick that box, and that was it.
I think it's like Marmite.
I love Marmite.
You like it or you don't.
yeah, exactly.
So is Marmite that different than Vegemite?
Yeah.
yeah,
Vegemite is vegetable extract. Marmite is yeast extract.
Okay. But they're both very salty, very kind of.
They don't taste they
very
taste-
umami.
yeah, it's umami, but they're not
Yeah.
the same. Yeah, what Vegemite is wank.
They're shite in their own way.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
Marmite is glorious. In fact, when we kind of kicked off that whole Marmite thing over at SOR, I used the last of my Marmite, and it hasn't been replaced. And I have had a word with the staff. I need a new jar of Marmite. I smuggled some into the US.
So you use like mustard, or what do you use it like?
Generally, I will have Marmite on toast, and
Yeah.
for me, it has to be like wholemeal brown,
Yeah.
granary toast with Marmite is just divine. But I will also have it on. I mean, as a kid, we used to have Marmite sandwiches. In fact, we used to do these things where we'd make Marmite sandwiches out of Jacob's cream crackers, and you'd put some butter or margarine on one and put Marmite on the other. Then you'd put them together, and then you'd gently squeeze, and you'd get these little Marmite and butter worms coming out of the holes in the cream crackers.
Yeah,
That's what we used to do as kids. I shit you not, my mum would give me what she would call a Marmite lolly, which is basically a teaspoon dipped into the Marmite jar, and you just lick it. It's like a salt lick.
I've left France 27 years ago, and there's very few things that can get the French out of me properly. Marmite is one of them. It's just-
Oh, I tell you what, mate. Did you hear what Trump said?
No,
No,
Oh, Fiona
Try
comes
not to.
into Fiona comes into the kitchen and says, "Oh, he's got the arse now. Alcohol. He wants to put a 200% tariff on champagne, so that
oh no,
they-
yeah,
because they
20%.
can make their own champagne here."
No, you can't. You can make sparkling white wine, but you cannot make champagne.
Go,
I
really?
love it.
Okay, so we have American champagne makers. Do you?
Sure.
You
Okay.
have American sparkling white wine makers. That's what you have.
it's
Yeah, they
called
can't legally
pop.
cop that. But this stuff is good though, right? I mean, it's
not bad.
It's not fucking champagne.
it's like saying Roquefort's the only good blue cheese, right? It's
It's all these people that there's been a craze over here for a number of years about prosecco, and I'm Italian, so I mean I should be on the side of prosecco, but you cannot compare prosecco to champagne.
no, it's not
it's like sweeter,
can't.
right? Isn't it usually sweeter?
Yeah, prosecco. I mean,
yeah.
prosecco grapes make great grappa, but
Yeah.
that's after they've made the prosecco with them. But Yeah, he wants to slap 200% tariff on European alcohol.
Yeah, have fun.
Well, I think the French and the Italians are going, great, more for us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This send the shite stuff away.
We
anyway.
ain't shipping it to other people, you know.
But then that said,
If
the
you
American
went-
wines are quite good.
The first time Fiona F just shopped around in France, like for wine and alcohol in general, French alcohol. But she was like, oh, like at first the prices were so low, but also the quality of the stuff. And she was like, oh, so the stuff we get here it's all the stuff you don't want here.
Yeah.
But well, you know about the grape blight that the American grape rootstocks actually saved. I mean, they had a real problem in France. I forgot what year
That's
it was.
true. That's true.
And Vitis californica was grafted onto the European grape rootstock.
There's lovely Californian wines. Don't get me
Oh,
wrong.
absolutely,
I remember driving around when I was in LA, and just landed in vineyards, and they were doing tasting and all that. I drove away with a few bottles, but just doing tasting, and I was like, oh my, because I grew up in a vineyard area, like that. Everybody around me was farmers, vineyard farmers, so like I know the work that goes into it. I know but it's suddenly I was back in France, in that small area, and I can't remember. Ojai or something like that, in that sort of area. In
Southern California, yeah. Right.
Yeah, and but yeah, suddenly I was back in the Charente area in France.
Well, I mean, it's a Mediterranean climate, right? And if you
Yeah.
do everything just right, it should be very similar.
If you've got south-facing hills and and a good grape variety, it doesn't
Yeah.
matter where you are, whether it's South
Exactly.
Africa, Chile, America, Italy. But also there's the skill in the production and the
Oh, of course.
blending, and But yeah, I mean, I used to actually. There was a period where I would literally only buy Californian wines for a while. I had this kind of thing about Californian wines. But-
Yeah, I mean, Napa Valley is no joke. There's a reason why there's so much money there. They do a really good job there with
Yeah.
a lot of their stuff.
When it comes to wine, I can be fussy, but I'm never that fussy.
What do you think about Australian wines?
Yeah. Especially the Monty Python sketch. A lot of people poo-poo Australian wines.
What is it? It's fucking close to water. That's it.
Yeah. At the opening of the Sydney Opera House, they were
They were
fishing them out of the
fishing
sewer
sewers
every half an hour.
This wine has a label on it, and
This label is beware.
beware. This wine is not for drinking; it's for laying down and avoiding.
Yeah. Only to be used in hand-to-hand
Hand
combat.
combat. Whilst I like peppermint Perth, or was it the Chateau Louis Wagga Wagga?
Yeah. Never gets old.
Never gets old.
Chateau
Never
de
will.
Chateau.
Yeah. Chateau de Chasselis. What was it? What was the Python sketch where they're going on about the Chateau de
The
Chasselis?
Chateau de Chasselis is one of them, yeah.
Oh, what is that?
Oh, it was the life was tough in my day. They all.
Oh, that's it. Yeah. They're
Outdo
four
each
Yorkshiremen.
other,
Four
yeah,
Yorkshiremen.
yeah.
Yeah.
Four Yorkshiremen,
That's
yeah. That's a lit road.
Luxury.
Do 47
And you tried
hours
to tell
in
the kids
factory,
that.
and then come home, and then our dads would beat us to death. And you tell the kids today, and they won't believe you.
Yeah, house. We're looking to have a house. A shoebox in the middle of the road.
You were lucky to have road.
Yeah. handful of cold gravel and a
Yeah. Or then the next guy we go, bloody luxury. You don't know what art is.
That was from an older show, right? Not Python, originally.
Well, it was from was it the
1948 show, is that what it was?
one of those, wasn't it?
Yeah.
But it was the original
Then it was
four.
redone.
Yeah,
wasn't
so
it?
the original four Yorkshiremen were Tim Brooke Taylor, Marty Feldman,
Oh, Marty Feldman. Yeah.
and then the other two were Pythons, I think.
Yeah, I've seen multiple versions of that sketch.
Yeah,
and
but
when
the
one was
original-
Rowan Atkinson.
Oh yeah. They did a modern one.
Oh, they
with,
did a modern version, yeah.
But the original was Tim Brooke Taylor, Marty Feldman. Was it Graham Chapman?
I think it was Graham Chapman and... Was it Eric Idle?
Or Palin?
Palin. It was Palin.
Yeah.
And then they redid the sketch again for the circus
Hmm.
with the the usual Python outlay.
Well, it says don't play any clips. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, mate.
Well, if you cleared your cache out, it would be recording it, but you're over your limit on your
Oh, am
recording cache. Yeah.
I? Oh.
So you need to delete some
Yes.
some old recordings.
Yes. Because it's was it 50 meg limit or something?
50 hours,
50 hours.
So- or as it's known in the business, 2 pubs.
I still have mine full
about.
from the paid version I had, but I went back to the free version. I still have that stuff in the cache.
Oh yeah.
Oh, I
You
can't
just
do it
raise
from
it too
here.
much.
I can't do it from
Oh,
here.
well, water's back.
Back, not broke.
Back.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, I've got no idea what's wrong with this.
Well, glad you guys did this again. I gotta run out and do some more shit, but it's good hanging out.
Oh, okay.
Yep. You too, mate.
See you guys soon.
Andy.
Yeah,
See you later.
Take care, buddy.
Radio.
Synthtopia are reporting that tariffs are now starting to impact synth prices, particularly Behringer,
Really?
by about £100 per unit almost, or $100, sorry.
How so?
People are reporting that pricing on Behringer gear spiked significantly overnight at some retailers. I guess it's because it's the Chinese tariffs, isn't it, that would affect them.
Okay.
So the Poly D has gone from 569 to 629. The Wave from 599 to 689.
I mean, you mean for people buying in the US or?
Yes, US,
Okay,
yeah.
sorry.
The UBXA has gone back up to from 999 to 1299. And the System 55 has gone from 1599 to 1899.
There's one thing some Americans didn't quite understand about tariffs. Even if the stuff is made or assembled in the US, the parts might be coming from somewhere else.
Exactly.
And just because it's made in America doesn't mean it's exempt from.
And so many people think that the tariffs are punishing the government. They're not. They're punishing the consumer because the manufacturer has to pass on those costs. There's no way they can get around it.
Robbie,
so-
have you seen the people that voted for him?
Well, yeah, I know this. I know this.
You can't say that. I mean, some people don't follow Trump, as in they just saw him a few times on TV talking about how he's going to make everything better, and that's all they went for. That's the vast majority.
What,
of
they
people
didn't learn
in
from the
general
first
in
4
world.
years?
Yeah, okay, good point.
Yeah. And all
Yeah.
the shit that ensued.
Yeah.
It's you have to be pretty damn stupid. to
I
fall for that
agree with you. I'm
bullshit.
trying to find the benefit, give them.
Oh, I know.
benefit of the doubt
I
in a
was
way, yeah.
too, and I gave up. After
Yeah.
about
Look-
3 weeks of watching them talk about it, I
Oh,
gave
I mean,
up.
it's spectacular.
because-
There are
You go,
going
"No,
to be people out there
Can't
that,
beat stupid.
but there are going to be people out there that genuinely believe or believed and rationalized it and thought about it and came up with it. For me, in my particular situation, voting for him is the best option. Biden was a nice guy, but the Democrats in the 4 years that he was in power, they did a lot of good things, but they also forgot to do a lot of other things that pissed a lot of people off or made life difficult for a lot of people. And you can't get around that. It doesn't matter how left wing you are. The Biden administration wasn't that
Well,
good.
they forgot the bread and butter stuff.
Yeah, exactly. And they focused a lot on things that just they really shouldn't have given
Yeah, but
a lot
my
of thought
point
to.
is that those people that you're speaking about think he's an idiot now.
Of course.
And know he's a moron.
Not all of them, but yeah.
Yeah, but the ones that were
There
going,
are,
"Look,
but- yeah.
it'd be better if I vote for Trump than for Kamala Harris, right? And it didn't take long for them to go, oh my God, he's doing much worse than he did the first time he was in.
I mean, I'm seeing clips online daily of Americans that, they're openly admitting, I voted for Trump, I voted for him for these reasons, and 3 weeks after he takes office, I am now out of work because they've shut down my government department that I was working at, and I had no idea they were going to do that, or I didn't think they were going to do it to me. And that's the thing. It's a lot of people vote for very, very selfish reasons, and in many cases that's a lot of we all vote for someone who's going to hopefully make my life better.
Yeah.
Thankfully, there's a lot of people that will vote for someone who not only makes my life better, but hopefully will make life better for lots of other people too.
Yeah.
But I think maybe, and I don't mean this disparagingly to our American cousins, but American society is very not. I wouldn't say the word selfish, but it's built on this this American dream that if you as an individual work hard, you can be the master of your own destiny, and it's a kind of a very self-centered
The myth.
way of and that's just the way it is.
Yeah, that's why you get so many Karens out there.
But this you talk to Americans about socialism, and you say the word socialism, and and I'm sure Ollie will agree with this. Socialism, particularly in France. I mean, I fucking love the way the French.
What is gone in France? It's gone altogether from France, but there's a lot of remnants from that, and most of the social
but
anywhere the social advances for workers are due to socialism. Anywhere.
But for a country that's spent 40 odd years being abhorrent and against communism, suddenly quite willing to get in bed with it now.
No, well, it's not communism. That's the thing.
No.
Russia. What's going on in Russia isn't communism at all. It's not. It's authoritarianism. It's got nothing to do.
But what Trump's doing is
Trump's siding with Russia.
Is a takeover playbook.
Yeah, but he's siding with Russia, but it's got nothing to do with communism.
No, but I'm saying
communism is well gone from Russia.
He'd like to see himself as a dictator.
Yeah, exactly. He wants to be an authoritarian dictator. Yeah.
I think the point you were trying to get at earlier about socialism is when people say socialist in America, they don't quite understand what it is. They don't understand what communism was either.
No. They don't understand. They don't see. Well, a lot of Americans don't seem to understand that socialism isn't hammer and sickle and a big red flag. It isn't what happened in Russia, after the revolution. Socialism is they live. There are so many Americans that have benefited from socialist ideas and practices. The welfare state is a socialist thing. State education is a socialist thing. These are all democratic socialism is
holidays.
Holidays, paid holidays and all that kind of stuff.
Steady now.
It's socialism. All your workers' rights, socialism. If the capitalists had their way, we'd be, we'd literally be in battery farms working 7 days a week. So socialism has had a massive impact, but you can't seem to get that across to many. If you say something, Bernie obviously comes out with it, but Bernie is kind of sidelined up there in Vermont, and they see him as this kind of crazy old man, but he's not. I mean, it's crazy. But
It's like Steve Elbow saying about communism has been dead for a long time. In fact, it was never really alive.
Well, because
the original concept of communism is not what Russia followed.
Exactly.
No.
Yeah. You read
all.
Marx and Engels, and you think, hang on a minute, I can see where the Russians got a lot of their ideas from, but it's not it's not what Marx and Engels were thinking about when they were writing, those great books and pamphlets and stuff that they came up with.
Yeah.
Communism is actually, if you read that's again Marxism. I mean, the word Marxism or Marxist has been turned into this evil, horrible word just by a great number of people who just use it like the word socialism is used in America. You know, it's
Yeah.
The funny part is so much of the left in America would actually be kind of right in Europe. You know,
yeah,
they don't really have a left as we understand it here.
no,
and yeah, when they call Kamala Harris the socialist or whatever, it's like
no.
you don't understand what that means. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I mean, there are. I mean, you got people like Bernie Sanders. You got people like Alexandra Ocasio-Cortez. They're socialists. They you know the principles that they fight on, the arguments they have, the things that they fight for, are you know, good old fashioned socialist ideals, and that's why, you know, they always end up being sidelined because you know, like you say, the majority of the Democratic Party is not socialist. It's, you know, it's centre. I mean, to say centre left is maybe a little bit. It's
No.
centre.
Yeah.
It's central. It doesn't really lean to the left at all.
It's like when
So-
you hear, I was listening about another one of these videos Fiona was watching, and this senator was shouting at the top of his voice about how the Constitution is perfect. It's the most perfect document ever created. And I looked at Fiona and went, so why's it got amendments?
Yeah.
Exactly.
It's absolutely, but except this bit. We
Except
need to
that-
change
and
this a
that-
bit.
and that.
Yeah.
and change that one. Yeah, that's not quite right.
But they can't change it for guns, even though they've had amendments for other things. They can't make an amendment to the or the Second Amendment. They can't change the Second Amendment. You know, it's like,
Yeah. Well, because
and
just in case the South want to have another crack.
exactly. No, it's weird, but there you go.
Yeah.
But I'll tell you one thing. I was, beginning of the year, I said to Jackie, I said, where do you want to go on holiday this year? And we sort of tossed a few ideas around. I said, look, if I can get the money together, if we can afford it, do you fancy doing a drive across America? You know, from East Coast to West Coast or vice versa. We'll fly into one and then we'll drive across to the other. And she's like, yeah, that sounds great. Because there is this road, although nowadays you wouldn't travel this single road, but there used to be a road that went from, you know, east to west coast. Now you'd sort of deviate a few bits, but
What, 66?
no.
Because apparently hardly anybody uses 66 anymore.
I've been on 66, and it's, you know, apart from the little touristy bits in, you know, in Arizona and that, it's
Yeah.
no, is it? I can't remember what the route is. It 50? And basically, it starts in Maryland, literally on the coast, and then it did originally go all the way across to California, but now you would sort of divert a few places because obviously you don't want to be going through
Taking
various,
the sights, as it were.
yeah, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
So anyway, that's what I said. You know, we should just fly. We either fly in to the East Coast and drive to the West and then fly home again, or we fly to San Francisco or LA, and then we drive across to there and then fly home from the East Coast.
Mustang 500 GT.
Yeah, well, that was
That's the
going to
baby
be up for
take.
debate. I mean, I did 3,000 miles around California in a Chrysler LeBaron, which I thought at the time was rather cool, but only because it was a convertible. It was the weakest 3-litre V6 I've ever driven. It's a horrible thing. Anyway,
That's why you want a sports 5-litre.
yeah, exactly. But so that was kind of like, you know, we both agreed, yeah, if we can afford to do that, we will. Two things have potentially put the kibosh on it. The first one is that my bonus isn't going to be as big as I hoped it might be. Simply because the company didn't have the best of years. But
Didn't
I was
work
still
hard
getting some.
enough, Robbie.
Yeah, that's true.
Should have worked. Sleep. Sleep is for losers.
Yeah, well, I've worked this week. Deserve it. But no, so you know, everyone's bonus was a little bit down this year, so that doesn't help. But secondly, I'm not entirely sure I want to be in America this year.
No, not
or
now.
next year.
I don't think
or
any time.
the next 2 years.
No.
So I lived
Anytime soon.
on the West Coast, on the East Coast, no, on the West Coast, for a year, and then I went back on holidays about 7 times. Four of those times were with Fiona together, and we literally, it was twice in California and twice on the East Coast, and literally we'd rent a car, and every morning we'd go right or left. And then we'd start driving, exploring the place, and then we'd stop in the hotel somewhere, and then we'd, for 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Which was great. It's a great way and you can do that in America because it's
Yeah.
so easy. To
Built
get
for
around.
it, yeah.
Yeah.
And it was wonderful. We stopped in bars. Some places were liberal, some places were conservative, and it was wonderful. Like, it was a great discussion with everybody. Nobody cared. The last year we did that was just before the first Trump term. And we could feel the change.
Yeah.
We actually felt the change
Yeah.
in covers, in attitude and
Yeah.
tone. And we were like, I don't think we'll do that ever again. And we haven't. And it's such a shame because it's a wonderful, wonderful country.
Yeah.
It just wasn't the same anymore.
No. And I think the last time I was out there was 2017 or 2018, and so therefore it was during the first
2016.
yeah,
It was
so it's during the first
15,
and I went to Austin, and Austin is this sea of liberalism in the middle of very strong conservative Texas, and so I didn't really get a sense or anything other than the fact that everyone that I encountered from work was just absolutely disgusted at what was going on. But then you expect that in Austin because it is this, it's very kind of odd place in Texas. But when I did that driving trip around California, we like you said, we had a plan. We arrived in San Francisco and we were going to end up back in San Francisco, and then for the next 15 days we would just say, right, well, we want to be in LA, or we're going to go to here, we're going to go to Vegas, and so we need to plan our route. And we just picked up the phone, booked the motel or a hotel for the next day, just rocked up, and I don't think I could do that. I don't think I feel happy doing that now. And when we did it, it was brilliant because we drove to places and we deliberately picked places other than the like LA and Vegas,
Sure.
and stuff, but everything in between. We deliberately picked something that was just off the beaten track, or just in a small town. And we came across one hotel in I can't remember the name of the place now. It was south of LA, and we were on our way into the desert, and we stopped at this place. It was like a Best Western. It was your typical American motel where you drive in, you get out the veranda type thing. You get out, you get your room, you get back in the car and you drive, and you park in front of your room. There's a swimming pool with a little wall around it in the middle.
The always missing from motel.
Yeah. And it was just like really hot and dry and dusty. And we pulled up, we got into the room, and my ex-wife said to me, I'm going to go to the pool because it was really hot. So I said, yeah, go. I'll be out in a little while. I was just getting some stuff ready. And I eventually go out there, and she's talking to this old lady. Magda from Something About Mary, the old tanned, who's got the leathery skin. Yeah. She was just like that, this kind of sort of grey, amazing sort of grey hair, but still styled within an inch of its life, and this deep sort of wooden mahogany brown skin that was all wrinkly and stuff, but bright white teeth and stuff. And she spoke with an American accent, but there was something else there. And so we were sat by the pool, and I said, you don't mind me asking, what there's something in your accent that's not quite, shall we say, local? And she goes, oh no, I'm from Germany. I said, oh right, so how did you come over here? And her husband was in the US Air Force at the end of the war, met her, came out here, they set up this, and they've been running that motel ever since.
Yeah.
And just to sit down with her and hear those stories, and you wouldn't, generally give her the time of day, but it was just fascinating. And that happened like almost every day. You just bump into someone in the restaurant.
Yeah, we were the same. Yeah, it was one.
Yeah, and it was and absolutely loved it. But now I just, like you say, it has changed, and it's not as pleasant, which is a real shame.
Definitely feel it the last time we were there. There was definitely sort of a antagonism in people. Like they first wanted to know, like before they didn't care. They just, if you were cool, you were cool, and that's fine. And you supported Obama or you didn't, but it was like whatever, But near the first term, like so 2015, I suppose, you could definitely feel people wanted to suss you out first. Like, do you know which side of that?
Which side are you on?
Yeah. And then maybe they talked, and it was like, oh, this is the first. Now this is hard work, and it's actually unpleasant. As a tourist.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. I mean, if I knew I was going for like 2 weeks, and I was going to a place where that probably wasn't going to happen, like somewhere like Austin, or somewhere where the majority of people's political beliefs aligned with mine, I probably wouldn't mind so much. But if I'm traveling across, through all, however many states it would be, and you just think you only need to walk into one place and somebody hears something, and you have to then start thinking about, I better not say anything, or if you're in the bar and the TV's on and Trump comes on, you don't want to go, oh, that's a fucking wanker again.
Boo!
Because you feel a little bit on edge, which is horrible. It's horrible. I mean, I love America. I love American people. I love so much about it. But
once, like, we were in a place, and there was a photo of it was Obama, like the president, like presidential photo.
Yeah.
At the back of the bar, and we started talking, and oh, so you like, tis himself, you like him, and they all hated him. They no, don't care for Obama or whatever. But I said, why is there a picture here? And then they were like, well, he's our president.
He's president, yeah.
Yeah.
It's like we have a picture of the Queen or whatever.
And you're like, all right, yeah, fair enough. Imagine that now.
Yeah, it's crazy, isn't it?
Except it would be in a gold frame that costs $500.
Yeah. Or a dartboard, yeah. So actually, what's come up now is that we're still waiting to get all the final figures and see how much money we've got. But I think America's off the cards, unfortunately, this year. And the next place she's come up with is Paris. We've never actually spent time in Paris. We've flown into Paris and then driven out of it. We've driven into it and flown out of it. We've never spent time in Paris, so we might go to Paris this year.
Wow.
Don't go up the Eiffel Tower.
Is that a euphemism?
Nope.
What time? When
weirdly,
did you go?
I heard that it's the most disappointing attraction in the world was announced today.
Really? Wow.
Because you go up there and go,
Yeah.
oh, that's it, is it? All right,
Yeah.
come back down again.
Because Paris isn't exactly a tall city, is it?
No,
it's
you're high
No,
up and
exactly.
you're looking at a city.
yeah.
Yeah, you go.
But you got to do it, haven't you? Yeah, you got to do it.
Actually,
Yeah.
being at the base of the Eiffel Tower is pretty cool because it's
Again,
big.
is that a euphemism? Sorry.
It's just right at the shaft there. And
Everything is a euphemism with Robbie tonight.
Yeah.
Everything.
No, I want to go because I love to drive places. But I think Jackie's probably had enough of driving across to Italy and back again over these last few years. So she said, well, why don't we go by Eurostar? And then you can still, take your time and you don't have to worry about driving, and you can still see the landscape as you're travelling through it, apart from that bit when you go under the sea. But, you still do that, and then you don't have to worry about it. And then if we're in Paris, taxis, Uber, Metro, whatever. So we don't need, we're in a city. It's not like we're going to be out in the country, in the mountains somewhere. So it might be actually quite an interesting thing. But then, of course, you've got the added expense of buying, paying for all that travel.
Where's Jackie's lineage?
Chobham,
So,
Woking.
2 weeks in Woking. There you go. Drive to Woking. Stay in a
One
hotel.
day in Woking is bad enough.
Yeah, true.
Jesus. Yeah, she's. Well, I know that I'm pretty sure Sheila is. It's Surrey, West London, that sort of thing. So, but Jackie was born and raised in Chobham. So,
Up road for me.
Yeah, yeah.
If you find yourself in Brittany in June or September, you're more than welcome.
Well,
to
we
come
were
over.
out
We'll be
there. It wasn't last year. It was the year before. I think we were in
Was it Carnac?
Santugdual, which is near. I can't remember. It was in Brittany. It's about an hour's drive away from Lorient.
Oh yeah, it's so south coast.
Yeah, yeah. It was lovely. I think I said at the time it was just like so isolated, really quiet. Kids hated it, but I loved it. But no, I think Paris would be quite nice. I've done most of the major European cities, and Paris is one that I haven't. I'd love to go back to Berlin again. I absolutely adore Berlin.
I was there once. I don't remember much. I was there in '89.
All right.
Yeah,
was a
again,
good
it's
year.
very
That was a
important
good year.
when you go.
It was a
isn't
good
it?
year to be there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's-
It was funny, Mark Reeder, who made that film about Berlin, the day the wall came down, he was in Hungary. He lived in Berlin since the early 70s, and the day the wall came down, he happened to be in Hungary. He was with a band, promoting a band, and they came back, and it had all happened, and they weren't there. They missed it all.
Oh.
So, yeah.
It was really weird because, like, on TV, there was always like scenes of people standing on the wall, just knocking it down and all that. And then it was a school trip, like, but whenever we went to school, it was actually close to the wall, so there was always, like, everywhere was like holes
Yeah.
in the wall, and you could peek in, and it was like it was literally like discovering a different universe or world. Like, it was just you were
Yeah.
peeking into something you weren't supposed to look at.
Yeah.
It's just really, really cool.
Yeah. There's a museum. It's the other side of the Berlin Cathedral. So if you walk from what's the bloody great gate? Brandenburg Gate. So you walk from the Brandenburg Gate into sort of Berlin. You walk all the way down that road. You eventually come to the Berlin Cathedral. Go over the bridge over the Spree, and then just on the left, and literally on the other side of the bridge, is the DDR Museum. And so it's a museum just dedicated to everything DDR. And it's not just this like a bunch of exhibits, static exhibits. There's this brilliant thing where the whole exhibit, part of this exhibit is about sort of the regular people's East German life and how they lived and where they lived and what they had in their homes compared to what was on the other side. And the entrance into this exhibit, you go into an elevator and you go in and the doors close, and then the elevator it moves and you think you're moving, and then it breaks down. And that's part of the thing, because they were so shitty that this thing breaks down. The doors kind of slightly open on one side, and you can kind of see like half light and half brick. And then obviously that comes down. And eventually you get out the other side, and you're in like a typical East German apartment. And you just think, bloody hell, it was sparse. I mean, it was, their lawnmowers. They were brilliant. They were very inventive. Their lawnmowers looked like little Qualcast, those little plastic Qualcast things. But instead of a motor, there was a thing that you put your drill into, and you just tighten the chuck, and then you lock the power on the drill, and that would spin the thing. And it was very inventive. And all that, that kind of typical kind of Soviet style of commodities and
have you ever driven a Trabant?
Yeah. Well, they do. There's a Trabant museum, and they had the Trabants in this one as well. But there is a separate museum, and you can actually do Trabant safaris.
Yeah.
So there's a guy in the first Trabant whose radio communicates with the others, which is about 6 in the convoy. Yeah. But you drive your own Trabant around Berlin, and you just see them every now and again these little sort of mini convoys of Trabants going around Berlin,
Yeah.
chucking out, the fumes. It's lovely. Yeah,
Yes, it's a very sparse car.
it is. Yeah, it's very basic, isn't it?
Yes, it was almost like, when they were in the showroom and the people, the salesman would be going, "No, it's the steering wheel, that is extra."
And you
Seat.
put your
You want a
drill
seat?
here.
Yeah.
Yeah, put your drill to start.
You
it up.
put your drill in the dashboard here. And this is how you start the car.
Fellas, I'm going to go. Thank you.
Yeah, I think I'm going to head off in a minute because I had a late one last night.
Yeah, I was late as well too. Plus, I think I've got an SK20. No, not SK, CS20 to look at tomorrow.
Oh, that's at Pete's, is it?
That's Pete's. Well,
Yeah.
that's been a super pain in the ass for no apparent reason. What else is on the cards? Oh,
Can't you're keeping the local broadband in business anyway?
Yeah, yeah. It still astounds me the amount of people that turn up to watch me scream and shout and swear at a synth.
It's company, isn't it?
It's
Yeah.
company, exactly so.
Anyway.
All right. Have a good
Yeah.
night.
Yeah,
Thank
you too. Good to see you, mate.
Yeah, take care, bud.
Yeah, and I think I'm going to head north.
I think
I've got a dentist tomorrow as well. I don't want to be sat there yawning.
well, that's probably ideal time to be yours.
Well, yeah.
Actually, as it transpires.
Yeah.
No, I'm going to have a look at this again tomorrow. And
I'd love to help more, but I would
honestly,
just need to see it.
I haven't got a clue as to. I mean, no cables have been plugged in or unplugged or anything, and it was working, and then suddenly, it's not. And then there was that thing that the
something's
mic
changed,
did. Remember, I was talking yesterday, and suddenly it went like that for no apparent
And
reason
where's your mic plugged into?
into the mixer,
Into the X32.
into the X32, yeah. And it just suddenly went oof, ooh, and then it came back by itself, and it hasn't done it again since. Yeah, I'd wondered if Lily probably changed something, but it's since I've fixed the power conditioners, it's turned off, and if she walks on it where it's turned off, it doesn't change any. Whereas
No.
before she'd walk on it and she'd mute things and stuff.
Yeah, yeah.
And I go, oh, put it all straight again. So, but this is while we were all in there with it, and it just
yeah.
suddenly went.
Very odd.
Yeah, and then came back, but I didn't do anything, but it came back on its own, and
Yeah.
remained exactly the same. So I don't know what's going on.
Anyway, don't touch anything until after tomorrow night. Anyway,
Yes, yeah, no, I won't be doing it.
no.
I can't believe it's Friday.
I know, right?
In 6 minutes, it's like, wait a minute, it was Monday a minute ago.
Yeah. It was
What the
Christmas yesterday.
Yeah, this week has really, really shot by. Unbelievable.
Yeah.
Can't believe it's just like phew, gone. Oh.
Crazy. All right, buddy.
All right, darlings.
I will see you tomorrow.
Yes.
Everyone watching, don't forget we've got Cherry Audio on,
Oh yes,
so that should be a giggle. Talk drum machines and all that.
yes, absolutely. And I will probably run a workshop pub just to make up for all the pubs that haven't happened in the past.
Yeah.
So,
Got to catch up.
gotta catch
All right,
up.
mate. I will
right,
see
bud.
you later. Take
All
it
right.
easy.
Everybody take care now.
Yeah.
Look after
Bye,
yourselves.
everyone. See you later.
Bye.
Bye.